Good evening, everyone. This is Cathy Cunningham coming to you live from the Remax Center, home of the St. John's Curling Club, for the women's draw, the fourth draw of the women's round robin. This is going to be the first draw, actually, of the second part of the round robin, because they've already played each other once, I think, and now we're into the second round robin. We play a double round robin here with 4 teams for the women, just to make it more complicated. And joining me tonight is Laura Strong, my longtime teammate, friend, buddy, curling correspondent, fellow, whatever else you want to call the two of us, and I'll leave that up to you guys. But welcome aboard, everyone. And this is an important game tonight, Laura.
Very. It almost wasn't.
Wasn't, yeah.
If you watched this afternoon's game. But yeah, it's this could really mean one team going to the final and one being out, in theory. I mean, there's games to come, but
there is.
When you talk about matchups, this is a biggie.
Absolutely. I think it's safe to say that the Guju team probably has a win left in them, and I wouldn't want to be that team if I was out there in this competition at this point, because they are all capable of making lots of great shots. We saw that yesterday against the opening round with her playing Stacey Curtis, and Stacey's team came out a bit flat for the first half of the game, and definitely Guju had the upper hand. So whether or not Stacey can let that go and play against her on sheet 1 tonight, we'll see what happens there. I don't know. But like I said, the Guju team, I think, is capable of winning a game out here. And if the other 3 teams are all tied now at 2-1, none of them want to lose to her, and they don't want to lose to each other. So the next round robin is going to be pretty exciting.
Absolutely. So we've had a pick on our sheet, which, to quote yourself, Cathy, no better time than the first end when there's no rocks in play. But yeah, Adrian's second rock picked. You saw Sarah turn it over and try and rub off whatever might have been underneath there. And then because of that pick, no rocks in play, Brooke went with the corner guard.
Well, fair enough. Sarah doesn't have a last rock here, so I think that was probably an attempt to negate the corner guard and just bring play into the rings as opposed to putting up another center rock. But I'm not sure that I like that call. It's early, I realize, and she may be wanting to keep it clean, but coming up short is not going to help that situation if that was your goal, because now you've given Brooke 2 corner guards to go around.
Yeah, you would have been better going through the house, really.
Well, yeah, and to some degree you are, for sure. I mean, she was going to go around her own corner guard anyway, unless you made the shot. So, but putting up a second corner guard for the team is not a good idea either. So here we have Kate Patterson throwing out-turn draw around the corner guard. Fortunately, it looks a bit deep. Yep, it's a bit deep. She won't be happy with that. So Sarah's having enough of this now, and she's saying, okay, well, let's get rid of these corner guards. I don't like them any more than you guys do.
Yeah, she might be a bit sick of rocks in play, generally speaking, for the day.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. My apologies to Kate as well. I think that was Sarah who just chucked it through and not Kate. So if you're going to place blame, you better place it where it belongs. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you and Heather certainly earned your non-pay today with all the rocks in play and the momentum shifts.
Heather and I enjoyed ourselves this afternoon. I think it was a very exciting game to talk about. It was an exciting game to witness, and from a viewing standpoint, even though I know the curlers wouldn't feel that way, it was really fun to watch. Really fun to watch. So hopefully we're going to be in for the same fun time tonight, Laura.
Hope so.
So out-turn come around. Sarah's attempt to remove the corner guard, actually, she put it back as a center guard, which is, good. Not bad, because they don't have last rock, so they would be okay with having that center guard in play. And Sarah's now come around.
Yeah,
nice
to
come
explain
around,
it.
Actually, he's dead buried, so good for her. Sarah's got nothing left now but the run back.
Yeah. And to explain it, we kind of do this every game because, again, we don't really know who's watching. Definitely some seasoned curlers out there, but Often there's family members who kind of only tune in this time of year to see how their family members or friends are doing and haven't got a clue what's going on out there. So in terms of curling, the rule of thumb is if you have the hammer, if you have the last rock, you want the play to go to the wings, to the outside, which then keeps the center open for you. In case you get trouble, you have access to the center and you're able to make that last stone and score. The opposite is true if you don't have hammer. So if you don't have hammer, you want to kind of clump up the center so that the team with last rock, doesn't really have a chance at getting in there.
Exactly. So a little bit of a swing here, and a little advantage for Team Godsland to try to draw around the one of the yellow corner guards. So she's chosen to draw around the one on the intern side. Kelly's attempt at the run back didn't quite work out for her. She got the center guard moved to the corner, but she didn't get the run back. So now we have Erin Porter throwing the intern draw, trying to come around that yellow corner guard.
And yeah, Brooke is using the exact rock that we said was quite the miscue there on Boland's team.
Oh, last night, you mean?
No, sorry, the corner guard that she's using right now is the one that we didn't really love her calling and then
Right.
came up short.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah, there you go.
case
Exactly.
in point that it was
Yes.
not in their favor.
No, unfortunately, Erin wasn't able to take advantage of that, so she's a bit short. Now she's made the corner guard a little bit nicer for her team, so if they can get an opportunity to get behind those staggered corners, it'll be a good shot. But right now, the advantage is to Brooke and team, and if they can make this hit and roll behind the corner, they'll be happy. Sorry, Sarah and team. No roll. Good shot, all the same.
Talk about family members. Remember when the Scotties was here in 2005? We were lucky enough to play in it and had some family members and friends come out to Mile 1 at the time. It was called Stadium. And my cousin, who hadn't really watched much curling at all, said, I always thought curling was kind of boring. But he said it's extremely exciting because it seems like every rock momentum shifts and you think, oh, well, this is going to be boring. It's like advantage Godsland. Oh, no, advantage Boland, advantage Godsland. And he's really grown to appreciate it once he understood it.
Well, that's a nice comeback for Erin Porter. She didn't make her first draw, but she certainly made a nice hit and roll. I do think a piece of it is sticking out the outside, but it's still a tricky little shot to play. You don't want to be, you don't want to just nudge it in a little bit better and make it better. But Sarah is going to have a go at taking it out anyway. She seems to like that idea better than trying to get a skip's deuce. Mm-hmm. Or sorry. Oh, I'm going to check back in now, ladies and gentlemen, and remember that Sarah doesn't have last rock here, so really she has no choice but to hit.
In fairness, we can't see, there's a table here, so we can't actually see the number of rocks that are at the home end, and we can't really see who's throwing. However, it is on a screen right in front of us. Yes, thank you, Trevor.
Every time we open our mouths, we put our foot in it, Laura.
We are multitasking.
No, we'll be okay in the second end. Yeah. We're gonna be okay in the second end. It's Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have to forgive us for a few minutes. So open hit to lie 2 here for Brooke Godsland, and there's just she's got 2 rocks left. Sarah just has the 1, so Sarah is looking at this point facing 2 for sure. But Brooke still has to make this hit and stick, and that's this is what my husband calls the free ones. Make the free ones. When it's an open hit or an open draw, you need to make it. So intern hit, and the girls are carving, and now they're keeping it straight. So looks like it's pretty good, close to target here. Nice shot. Got a little roll away, which is nice because it gets it kind of away from that corner guard. I don't think the other corner guard will make any difference because I don't think she'll be shot rock if she rolls behind it. But either way, Sarah just has one job to do now, and that is to hit and stick and make sure that she makes Brooke work for her 2-ender.
Cathy, back to 2 shots ago, you called it. You said that it was a bit of a tricky spot out there for Erin to try the hit, and of course she did hit the guard, and that's why Brooke is likely going to get her 2 here. Tricky spot for the skip too to put the broom out there. There's not a lot of shots played that far out, and certainly in the first end of a game,
No.
it's always a bit of a guess.
Absolutely. So sweepers are working on this. Just needs a nose hit. Now they're just dusting it, so it looks like a good shot, and it is. Good for Sarah for hitting and sticking here. And now Brooke needs to make the hit and stick as well to get her 2. This is, again, what my husband calls or refers to as the free ones. You need to make the hit and stick when it's available for doing just that. So she should be in pretty good shape here. She's just seen Sarah throw the exact same shot, so no question that they both know where the broom needs to be. So it's just a matter of throwing it accurately. Get your 2. Good start to the game if she can do that. It's always nice to get 2 in the first end, especially in a 10-end game. In the 8-end game, I see the value of blanking the first end to keep control of the even ends, Laura, but I really, in the 10th end, I think there's just too many swings in momentum to worry about it this early in the game.
Absolutely.
So a nice shot by Brooke. A bit less weight there. She didn't quite get it right on the nose, but because of the weight that she threw, which was a nice control weight, she stuck around no problem. So 2-0 here in the opening end for Brooke Godsland against Sarah Boland, and we will return in less than a minute. So here we go again into the second end. Laura and I are trying to decide who the heck is out there playing and who is not, because from our vantage point, and not because of Laura's age, but certainly because of mine, I can't actually see that far to tell who's in the hack. So we're having this argument over who's wearing the white shoes, who's wearing the black shoes, which one's Kate, which one's Sarah. We think we have it right. So either way.
A lot of brunette braids out there,
Yeah,
too.
there's a lot of brunette braids from this vantage point too. That doesn't help. I can tell which one is Erin. She's the one with the light red hair, and that one I know. So we'll be all right, Laura. As I said, it's Friday night, but either way, Kate was a bit heavy on her 4-foot draw. No one ever really wants to be behind the tee line, so she won't be, too pleased with herself there. Sarah's ignoring it and asking Adrian to throw the corner guard up here on the outturn side. Girls are not touching it, which tells me that she's not light. Now, will it come into the house or not?
I think
Because
they'll
that
be
they
okay.
certainly wouldn't want.
Suck it. No.
Yeah.
It's another miss.
Okay, so 2 a little bit heavy. And the same thing happened this afternoon when we were watching. Laura, I was noticing it early in the game, a lot of the players are just throwing it 5 or 6 feet too heavy. Taking the sweepers out of it, which is a real shame of it, because most of them have excellent sweeping technique and excellent ability to drag a rock, 10 feet. It's not really that big of a problem for these girls.
Yeah, and you'd have to think this far into it, the ice has stayed pretty consistent. So they probably know what it's running. It's either nerves or it could be a bit of fatigue too. There's not a lot of opportunities to go to spiels, living in Newfoundland, obviously. So you got to pay quite a bit to get off the island, and some of the teams have spieled, but not as much as um, the mainland teams get to. So they don't get to put a lot of games under their belt, and certainly not back-to-back games. So 10 games being this is the first time of the year they'd play 10 games. All the other spiels and weekly games would be 8 and it's just might be a case of just leg drive. And when you get tired, you would think, well, maybe you'll kick out slower, but sometimes you have to kick out a lot harder, um, just to stay up.
Yeah. Sorry, a little bit of background noise there for a second or two, guys. A bit distracting. We're up here in the lounge at the curling club, and we don't have our own like broadcast booth like TSN or anything. This is all amateur technology up here, even though it's really good technology. So Sarah's chance now to remove the yellow rock on the forefoot. It's pretty open end here so far, Laura. I was going to say I was a little bit surprised, but I guess it all starts with the leads, doesn't it? When the lead puts it in the back four and then the other lead puts their corner guard in the house, then it does become a very open end. And that's really what's happening here. The good news for Sarah is that she did get a plug on the corner guard from Adrian, and so there is a corner guard here for her to go around.
Yeah, and we talk about the Leeds rocks quite a bit. They've always been important, obviously. I see Heather Martin on the ice out there, and I just sort of twitch a little bit because she was your longtime lead, and we played against her quite a bit. And how many games did she make very painful on us just by setting up the lead rocks so often? She was such a consistent player, and that was before the 3-guard. Four rock, 5 rock rule, even more so now.
Yeah, when Heather and I started playing together, we were playing the Moncton rule, I think, which I've even forgotten what that was. But there was 3 rock, and then there was 4 rock, and now there's 5 rock with the no tick. Well, there was 5 rock, and then there's 5 rock with the no tick. Next there'll be 5 rock with the no tick, and you can't remove the corner guard, and something else will come after that. Whatever it is, it's all in the effort to improve the game and to make it a little bit more fun for you guys that are watching. If a game becomes boring, no one wants to watch. And when no one wants to watch, no one actually gets that big of a kick out of playing.
Well said.
So, a short corner guard from Beth for her first sprock. Now she's going to have an opportunity to try it again, because unfortunately for Sarah, she was a bit deep on her attempt to choke it off.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a nice rock, actually. Might be a little tiny bit of it peeking out, but it's still going to be a tricky little shot for Erin, as you can see from the broom placement with Brooke there, that it's not going to be a straight up hit or anything. So she's just going to be playing lightweight, maybe punch it back a couple of inches and leave it behind her rock.
This is not a lot of ice. I don't see a lot of swing going to the wing yet, anyway.
No, and to be fair, the draw attempt from Beth was great weight, but it didn't bury. So you're right. I don't think she needed much ice to make this shot. I think what she needs now is a little bit more juice.
Perfect
nice weight, but
yeah.
it did in the end curl a little bit more than they wanted.
And
unfortunately, the position of her rock is really not advantageous. It gives Sarah an opportunity now to just come down and sit on the corner of it and lie to. Partially buried as well, so advantage Boland at this moment.
Those shots really sting because you're so close to perfect, and a freeze is, arguably the toughest shot in curling. And for it just to overcurl that much, it's the difference between, like you said, total advantage to your team and handing it right over.
Yeah, so Kelly is going to be tasked with the same type of shot that Erin just threw and see if she can make this corner freeze on this one. The draw path for this one seems to be a lot closer to the center line to me, Heather. Or sorry, Laura. I might do that again.
Yeah, it's definitely
do that
one
again.
of many.
Yeah. And I was right. She didn't get the same curl that Erin did. So now she's left. Swing it back over to you, Godsland. See if you can make this double. If she can, she's going to lie 3. She doesn't have a lot of ice here, so that tells me it's open.
I was just wondering if she can make the double and roll away instead of clumping her rocks together, but I think she's kind of got to nose it, really.
Yeah, in order to make it?
Yeah.
So they're sweeping pretty hard, so it looks like she's going to be close. Oh, she got a little inside roll
Good.
there, Laura.
Yeah.
Didn't even think that was possible.
No.
She did, and she's got probably half of it buried, at least from our vantage point, which is not exactly right behind the ice. We need someone over there behind sheet 2 to give us some cues over here. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate that.
Who can be trusted? I don't see any trustworthy. Oh, there we go. We've got fingers up. Okay.
So half buried.
Yeah.
Behind the corner guard. Oh, we got our friend over there now. This is great.
He'll be called on again.
Yep. No more beers for you. So Kelly's being asked to try and remove 1, if not 2, of these blue rocks. I don't know if she can get past the guard and get enough curl, but they're trying. Oh, that's a pretty good shot. Unfortunately, she kind of rolled off the top, so she's really given Brooke an opportunity to lie 3 here. But what she did do is open it all up for herself. So whatever Sarah has left should be open. This is a pretty good shot. She couldn't have really done much more with it, I don't think, Laura. I don't think enough of it was showing.
No, you had to throw down weight to let it move a little bit past that guard. And also the down weight allowed or ensured that Kelly's shooter would at least stay in the rings. If it had rolled out, then Brooke gets to draw to, 3 behind that corner. Now she can hit and flop and lay 3, but at least she's got to make the hit and flop.
Yeah. So we did a little bit of a switch here now. She's turned to the in turn, not playing the out turn anymore. No, this is a straight up hit this time. Nothing quiet about it. So maybe that's why I always preferred to play outside in.
Yeah.
Nice shot.
I thought that might curl harder just because, as we said, it's kind of straighter going the other way, but it didn't curl very hard. So maybe just a little bit straighter ice all around.
Could be. The first game that I was up here doing the commentating for was on sheet 2, and we found that the both skips were a bit fooled by it. There was the ice today seems to be a little bit better in that we were noticing the 4-foot line was really straight. So if you were drawing outside of the 4-foot line, it tended to hang there. Especially if you had a little extra weight, was no forgiveness in it. And then you throw it again, throw a little less weight, it pick up the curl, and you look like a crazy person because you drop it about 7 feet short of the house. Yeah. So, but it was a really tricky fine line there where it would hang straight and then it would curl. Today, when we were watching the game earlier this afternoon, we didn't notice that so much. So I wondered, Heather and I were surmising that the ice crew got out there and maybe did a little bit more tweaking. And the other thing that Heather pointed out this afternoon's broadcast was that it had warmed up a little bit. And so the sun was hot. There was a little bit more moisture in the air than there has been for the last couple of days. So that too will affect the ice surface. And as she was saying, we would imagine that the skips that are out there are probably going through the same conversation in their heads that we were having while we were online. Well, I hope they were anyway, but so in-turn takeout from Sarah, and she's going to obviously try and remove 2 rocks here if she can.
Very
She's
close.
going to get 1 for sure. And stick to line number 2. So not a bad result, really, because now she's going to keep Brooke from hiding again because she's lying number 2. So Brooke really has to hit it. Luckily for Brooke is she doesn't really have to stick to continue to put pressure on Sarah. Sarah's going to have to draw for 1 either way. whether Brooke makes this shot or not. So
The other bonus with the Sarah's leave, we'll call it, where her rock ended up, is it rolled right out to the what we talked about in the first end, which is kind of the bit of the guess area of the sheet. So closer to the middle, it's a bit of lot less thinking of where to put the broom, and you just tend to throw that line a lot more when you get out here. It's just not as natural, and again, a bit of a guess what it's going to do.
frankly, I always thought it was a bit of a nightmare. I could never throw this shot. I was always really bad at the inside shot off the center into the wings. And anyone who ever watched me throw or held a broom for me will tell you the exact same thing. Don't give her that. She's horrible at it. I always threw outside in wherever I got a chance over there, I can tell you. And I shied away from that in-turn takeout every single day of my career. Most of my opponents didn't even know it was a problem.
Or your teammates, because
No.
news to me.
Anyway, unfortunately for Sarah, unfortunately for Brooke, she missed the hit. Fortunately for Brooke, it doesn't matter because Sarah still had to play the draw because her rock, Sarah poked it in underneath the corner guard, so she has no access to it to get to, which is really too bad for her at this point. But draw for one, it will be.
And I talked last night about how every shot, every action has a reaction. So so she missed the shot, move on. But a couple things might have happened there. One is they got a read on what that does in that spot, and it does something a little crazy, like you said, because that was a significant miss. Or Brooke had a really, I'm trying to be polite, dreadful slide, and and missed it terribly because of her slide, and that might be in her head. So if she has to throw that again, you can be sure she's going to have flashback to that, and it might make her throw it much better, or it might still haunt her. So all these little things add up, and 3 hours later, when it's near the end of the game, it can come into play.
And you know what? If Sarah is this kind of skip that I was, you take note of that. And if she is an open draw at some point through the end of this game, or at some point in the middle of this game, where she can put some pressure on Brooke, she's going to draw over there. She's going to leave it there for her to try it again and hopefully miss again, maybe the other way, overcompensate for it, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, while we were yammering on there, Laura, there was a score of 1 for Sarah. The sweepers kicked into high gear there at around the tee line or on the hog line, and got it to the 4-foot for her. So 2-1 for Godsland, with Godsland having the hammer in the third end, and we will be right back. So welcome back, everyone. Actually, you didn't leave. We just left for 30 seconds or so. Just give a quick update on the other games that are going on out here. The other women's game is 1-0 after they're just finishing the second end, so we'll give you another update in a minute on that one. And our game, which is 2-1 for Team Godsland. On sheet 3, we have Nathan Young playing Trent Skanes. Nathan is up 2-0 after the first end. That promises to be a good game to watch tonight. Those teams are still vying for the top spot in the men's. Team Hancock and Team Walters are on sheet 4, and right now Team Walters is up 1-0 after the first end. On sheet 5, we've got Team Tipple playing Team Simmons, and there is no score there yet. They're in the third end, and on sheet 6, we have Team Smith playing Team Thomas, and they are tied 2-2 after 2. We'll keep you posted as time goes on, and we'll go back to our game now. We had another pick or hog or something early in this end, Laura. I don't know if there's something going on with that rock.
Yeah, I would have thought that too, but the last time Adrian hogged, it was her second rock, and this time it was her
Okay.
first rock.
So dear Adrian is struggling a little bit.
And then Brooke called it in, which makes sense when you're up points with hammer. You don't really want rocks in play. Sarah could have thrown up a guard because the rock that Brooke called in was back 8 foot, so not super threatening. But Sarah might want to just kind of calm things down. It is a long game, and you don't have to go all out just because you're down 1 without.
I would agree with that, but I think that if the other team is willing and wanting to play it in the house, I'd be looking at guarding.
It's the right
don't
strategy. All things considered
I
equal,
guess
it's the
the
right
thing
strategy.
is that she doesn't have last rock, and I will say to you that she got burned on that one.
Yeah.
Earlier today, not having last rock. So she's going to be, what is it? Once bitten, twice shy there. No point in making a mistake if you don't learn from it. So clearly she has, and she's been, maybe playing a little bit more tentatively because of it.
And skips are always reading their players too, right? Like on any given day, your players can be fantastic, but sometimes you can say, oh, you know what, my second or my third, they're a little off on draw weights, so I'm going to call a little different strategy. They might not even know it, but I just don't want to ask something of them that I think they're struggling with.
It's a good point. Intern draw here from Sarah. Sarah wanted to give a shout out actually to Sharon McNeil out in Stephenville. So hi Sharon from Sarah. Told her I would. Nice intern draw here, looks like anyway, Laura.
Stop.
Nice, well done. Above tee, it's always good. Buried too, which is nice. So Sarah doesn't have a lot of choice here. Sarah Boland, I should say, doesn't have a lot of choice here. She's got to follow it down. So calling on Beth Hamilton to throw the same intern draw that Sarah McNeil Lambswood just threw. So she'll want to get this down there, right in on top of it, or corner on it at least.
Adrian put her hand up in the air almost as soon as Beth let it go to say that weight was considerably up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Beth's not going to be too happy with that one.
Definitely seems, like you said, Cathy, the tendency has been to be deep on draws so far.
Yeah. So lucky for Sarah McNeil Lambswood, that's Sarah. She gets an opportunity to throw this shot all over again, and seeing how she made it so lovely the first time, I imagine she'll be looking to do the same thing this time. Be great if she could get it right in on top, frozen on the nose. Really starts to put some pressure on Team Boland then.
I had a coworker today ask me, what's the hardest part about curling? And I said, consistency. I said, people can, wipe out and make a beautiful shot on their butt,
Yeah.
really, but do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's key. Anybody can make a wonderful shot and then follow it up with a, terrible through the house or kick the guard or whatever. But Sarah just did exactly what you need to do to be a great curler, which is consistently put the rock right back where the first one was.
Yeah. Great draw there. Lovely shot, actually. So a little bit of pressure here on Boland now, not having last rock this end. So Kelly Sharp is in the hack and going to be throwing an intern tap. This second rock is a little tiny bit more available around this center guard, so they will try and carve it now over on get as much of that top blue in as they can. Keep the yellow in play. Get rid of one blue. That's as good as she could have done there, Heather. Laura.
Number 2.
Laura.
Story of my life. Don't worry about it.
If there's any consolation, I have 2 sisters and a brother, and my mom called me everything but Cathy.
Really?
Yep. Yep.
Shout out to Nana Alice, who I'm sure has been following along, watching her granddaughter Jessica play with Team Curtis. The matriarch of the
Clift family.
The Clift family, yeah. Nana Lib would be the matriarch of the Cunningham family.
Exactly. Really nice shot there by Aaron Porter to make that hit and roll back in partially under the center guard. I think each time they do this, there's a tiny bit more of it showing for Team Boland, but Kelly's going to have to do a repeat of the first shot that she just threw. So here we go. We'll see if she can be as consistent as her opponent. In-turn draw. Not narrow, I don't think. Laura, I see Adrian trying to carve it here.
A little bit extra weight that time too, I think.
Yeah, perhaps. Certainly didn't get enough of the top one to do much damage. She's moved it around a little bit, but it didn't really hurt Team Godsland in any way. In fact, may have been a bit of a bonus, really. Because this rock that's in the top of the 4-foot now is buried behind the yellow center guard, even though that center guard is quite high. Pushing the other blue rock to the back 8 is really just allowing Godsland to just lie to, even though if it had been removed, obviously it would have been better, but it's out of the way now, and it's not really providing Team Boland with an opportunity to use it to get at the middle. So this is a great chance here for Brooke and team to draw around this center guard again and lie 3.
Yeah, I mean, that yellow guard is quite long, and on swingy ice, it would kind of be useless because you can kind of get at anything. But we've said a few times now that the ice is a little straighter tonight, and so as a result, anything kind of buried you can't really get to.
No. Lovely draw there by Aaron Porter. If there's anything available, it's on the outside, and that's not going to be pretty to try and do anything with. I don't know if Sarah has any choice but now to try and come around all of those blue and sit in the back 4. Just cut them down for now, hey? Draw play into the deep and see if she can make enough room for 3 rocks.
I hate to even say it, but do you consider peeling?
Well, I don't know what value. Well, yeah. I mean, yes, there's always a consideration, but let's pretend. Let's do it. If she peels, then there's 3 blue in there, and where's Brooke going? Over to the corner or putting it back? She might put it back top 12.
Just those front 2 are grouped together, pretty easy double. I don't even know, but there's a triple there.
Could be.
You might get a miss out of Brooke. I just, you hate to give up. You're in
have
danger
to
of
remove
giving
the
up
front
4
in order
now.
to have a go at that for sure.
Probably a
I don't
rock
mind
too
this
late.
call though. I don't mind this call. If you get even if you come back to the one that's in the back of almost to the one that's in the back 8, you could be shot back there, and you aren't getting rid of it once it goes back there. So she does reduce that 3-ender right down to 1 or possibly none if she can get back there somehow.
Adrian's hand has gone up again.
Well, it doesn't look too bad to me, Laura.
It's really nice if it
Needs to curl. If they can, they can't. Not too bad. Open. It's open from the other end, 2/3, 3/4 anyway.
That was a
at
really,
the worst.
really great try.
Yeah, just needed to be carved a little bit more, and I think maybe if they had kept Adrian on it instead, might have got it over there.
Yeah.
had pretty good weight, but I can see why they would be hesitating as well, because by sweeping it, you're also lengthening it, and it needed to curl as well as it needed to stop. So it's a tricky situation when you're looking at both, when it needs to do both.
And it really squeaked by those top blues, so you only had 4 feet to try and carve it, and I'm not sure you would have made a huge difference in that short span. You know, manipulating the rocks with carving it and keeping it straight, that's just an ever-changing science, and I'm not sure that at club level and provincial level of curling, I'm not sure everybody's privy to the same information. I really do believe that the top teams are, you know, made aware of these studies that are conducted and really get an opportunity to test out different theories. And even when you see it on TV, it's more, they're calling it knifing now more so than carving. But you see most of the teams out here still kind of carving it. The angle of the broom, you know, the trajectory, all these things are measured on the mainland. And like I said, I think the top teams are told about it, and the rest of us are kind of just trying to learn from what we're seeing.
No question. It also comes down to the technique too. I mean, regardless of whether or not there's technology out there that we're not aware of at the club level, there's also ability. And the ability of the Grand Slam teams and the top teams in Canada to carve rocks is definitely better than us at the club level.
Now, need a second to think about what just happened.
Not exactly what she was calling, I don't think, but it's not too bad.
Again, it's a bit hard because of the angle we're on. If you hit and flop under into in between those blues, then that opens up that yellow, like you said, is pretty well wide open for Brooke to hit and get her big end back.
Not if you sit the yellow in between. If you sit the yellow in between those two blues up top, she's only going to have a shot for 2.
Right.
And it'll be just a draw, because this yellow one and the top yellow one will outcount all the other blues, right? So where does Sarah want to go with this? Probably she does want to squeeze it over there, not leave it open. She leaves it open, she's leaving her with a double for 4 if you can make it. So I think you want to sneak some of it underneath those blue rocks if you can. So hit the outside blue.
Oh gosh.
Hopefully get a little bit of a roll in.
Oh, that's as bad as it gets.
Definitely don't want to do that. No. Ouch. So this would be one of those huge momentum chips we talked about earlier today. Hit for 5 for Brooke Godsland. And so as a skip in this situation now, you're going to play this shot outside in, because she feels like this is probably straight, and the last thing she wants to do is what Sarah just did. So she's at least recognized that, which is good, because sometimes when you see an opportunity like this, you kind of get so lost in the fact that this is an opportunity for 5 that you forget that you're just throwing an open hit.
Yeah.
And you got to make that open hit before you're ever getting 5. So concentrate on that open hit first. This is a outside, this is a out-turn hit. This is curling.
Huh.
Oh, but made. Well swept. And a big score of 5 for Brooke Godsland to go up 7-1 after 3 ends. Wow. We'll leave you with that to think about for a minute or so, and we'll be right back. Oh, that was a lot to think about, Laura. I don't know where I would be in my head if I was out there on the ice now and I was Team Boland is 7-1 after 3 ends. Now this afternoon it was 5-1 after 4 ends. So it's not a lot of difference. And the Curtis team was able to come back, ended up in an extra end. So the good news for Team Boland is that early game. It's really early in the game. So if you can just bear down and concentrate on nothing other than let's just see if we can get our 2 back here, and then we'll take it 1 end at a time from now on.
Yeah.
Nice corner guard placement there. And to their advantage is that Kate was a bit deep, so her 4-foot attempt is in the back 12, so Sarah doesn't have to worry about that.
We've talked a number of times. You'll hear the term tolerance too. And on Sarah's last shot in the previous end, I don't know, again, how that team deals with it. If you talk about it in the hack or if you just trust that the thrower knows it, or you talk about it up in the house when you're putting the broom down. But you do have to have tolerance in mind. And if you're going to miss, there's a way to miss it and a way to not miss it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
tolerance was absolutely to be inside on that hit. And
for sure. She had a catcher over on the other side as well, and I mean, there was the chances of her sliding through the 2 blue rocks was pretty slim. That would have to be really terrible luck to have that happen. So yeah, she really did need to make sure that she was, nose her inside on that one. But no one knows that more than Sarah does right now, and she's probably down there. At this point, she might be at the point in this end where she stopped beating herself up over it. She may be by now, but we'll see.
hindsight's 2020, but I
It
didn't
is.
like that guard. I did want to talk about the peel.
You did.
I did.
You did, and we wouldn't let you.
No. I don't mind giving up 3. Don't want to give up 5.
No.
Having said that, I mean, misses were what resulted in the 5. Some
Nice
things
draw
people,
there, though. In the meantime, that's a good shot. It's not quite underneath, and again, this side seems to be a little bit trickier to try and get them underneath. I don't know if Sarah might be better served if she switched and started playing the in-turn come around instead of putting the corner on the outside, on the out-turn side. Maybe try it the other way if you can't get it buried. But either way, it's partially buried, and the Brooke and team cannot actually just, throw a zinger at it. So they have to play a little bit more careful way. The chances of this actually being removed is pretty slim. So she'll still have rocks in play, which is what Sarah wants right now.
You're right, Cathy. And when you say the intern side, it's a couple of reasons. Like you said, it changes things up, but that's also the side where Brooke flashed the hit and essentially hit the boards if the boards existed. So as we said, it's a place we kind of want to, there might be a seed planted in Brooke with that she, a little bit of a haunting there, but also if she threw it relatively well, we know it curls there too.
Yeah. So, bit of a miscue there by Team Godsland. This takeout. Great opportunity here for Sarah Boland now. She can put a second one in behind this corner guard, and she's set up really quite nicely at this point to get 3 back. So, we'll see how it plays out now, mind you. You got to make a lot of rocks between now and the end of this end in order to do that. But it's set up nicely, and she's got the right thing going. So things are looking up.
And this is a resilient team. We've seen them. We've seen them in a lot of situations like this, emotional games, and they're pretty mentally tough team too. Nothing seems to really shake them. So fully expect them to dig their heels in and put up a good fight and get back into this game.
I would agree totally. I've never seen them shook up. They seem to really enjoy the game and enjoy each other's company. So there's not a lot of bad feelings out there when someone misses a shot. They seem to just rebound and just try again. Pro side missed there by Beth Hamilton on her come around attempt. She didn't make the come around, but she did make a nice corner guard. So if you're going to miss, then keep your rock in play, and providing another corner guard there was that was a good help. If so, like you said,
It's what
the tolerance.
It's
there,
what they
right?
just racked on. So
Yep.
yeah, exactly.
So Beth gets another opportunity now to try this come around again, and I think that with the first one being a little bit light, this one won't be. So you can see Sarah waving her hand there, just asking the girls to keep it clean. It's not doesn't Doesn't need to actually be swept per se, but just keep it clean. And see Kelly try and carve it in here. There you go. See Kelly try and carve it in there a little bit. And again, it's not really curling all that much there. Laura, I really think they'd be better served if they try the other side. Now, I'm saying that from up here. I don't know what the other side does. But it seems to me like this is a little bit like beating your head against the wall, trying to make something happen that doesn't seem to want to happen.
Agreed. Other thing these two teams are doing is probably scoreboard watching. The game on sheet 1 matters to everybody. And Guju actually just picked up a big steal of 2 on Team Curtis in the third. So they're now winning 3-1.
Mm-hmm. And something, we talk about how important it is for Team Boland to bear down and, just play one end at a time. It's equally important for Team Godsland to do the same thing. They just scored a whopping big 5-ender. They're up 7-1, and they have 6 more ends out here to torture themselves through before they can actually feel like they won. Even though right now you feel like you can't lose.
Yeah.
It's all too easy to actually lose a game like this. So you really, on their behalf as well, or in their situation, I should say, it's really important for them to be equally aware of the fact that they have to bear down and pay attention to and not get ahead of themselves. You haven't won yet, even though it feels like you have.
And another thing often happens with a big lead is that the team then changes their strategy. When you're up that much, you just sort of hit everything in sight. And what got you up that much is probably playing a different strategy, which was to throw a lot of draws in there. So it's that sort of age-old discussion. Do you keep the same strategy that got you there, or do you switch it? Because really, if you're up points, you generally hit and don't want rocks in play.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about what Kelly just did there. So I think that they were trying to play the double on the 2 blues that were on the 4-foot, but she didn't get the double. She did get the run back. She stuffed it, as we say, and then she stuffed it in the back again, which is a little bit of bad luck, you would think. But in this particular case, I don't think it is. I feel like this is not a bad thing for Team Boland. They've left a blue one behind their yellow one. It's still early in the end. They've also left one in the back 4 that they might get an opportunity to use if Godsland is lucky enough to remove a couple of yellow ones. The thing with Team Boland right now is the more rocks in play, the more friends you have in the rings. And I think even though it didn't look like what happened to Kelly's rock was all that good, I really don't think it was all that bad.
Agreed. I'm actually surprised they played hit weight at it at all.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I would have done that either, to be fair. Being down 5 points, I don't think I'd be hitting anything, but that's me.
And me.
Nice shot there. Really nice shot by Erin Porter. So Erin has clearly got her head on her shoulders, and that was a tough double. Go across the top of that back blue one and not remove it. Now, I don't think they would have been unhappy if they did remove it, but it is good. And she got a roll, nice roll behind the corner guard. Make that come around this corner guard even more difficult than it already is now, because you've got to get it in play, and it's got to curl over at least enough to sit on the corner of this blue one, even though it will only be second shot if they're lucky. Could only be third. Lots of good sweeping going on here now, Laura. They really need to get this in and at least outcount this one in the back 12. Oh, that was a pretty good shot.
They did that.
Pretty good shot. It's in the way. I don't think Brooke can play it. If I was Brooke, I don't know if I would.
Didn't even look at it.
She's playing the guard. Yeah, hitting the corner guard. Good call. Good call. So she and Erin are having some good conversations in the back of the house there while that was all going on, and they haven't lost their perspective at this point, which is good. Now, making the shot is another thing, because you still have to hold on to that, not getting ahead of yourself. You can't do that while you're in the hack either. So there's 2 things. You have to be able to continue to call the game the way it's supposed to be played, even though you're up 6 rocks or 6 points. But you also have to have that same level of concentration when you're in the hack to make sure that you spend a little bit extra time making these shots, because even though you can sit there and say, oh, it won't hurt that much if I don't make every single shot, before you know it, it's the shot that you shouldn't ever miss, the one that catches you. That's what happened to Sarah Boland earlier this afternoon. She had a commanding lead on Team Curtis and made the wrong, just played unfortunately missed the wrong shot at the wrong time and gave back 3, and it switched the momentum right back into Team Curtis's hands.
Sometimes you lose your focus. I mean,
Yeah.
you see Brooke there kind of belly laughing. Not sure what it's about.
Yeah, I think something happened that we didn't
Yeah.
catch actually, because she did make the shot that she called.
Yeah.
So someone tripped over something or something, I think, or maybe she fell after she threw. We didn't
Yeah.
really get to see it. So
But sometimes when you have that big lead, you lose your focus. You're jolly and maybe not taking. I'm not saying this is what happened at all, but not taking those deep breaths and treating every shot, like you said, Cathy, like it's as important as if it was a tight game.
yeah, it takes a lot of focus to do that. It's really easy to be distracted out on the curling ice. There's a lot going on, especially in a competition like this. There's no harm in looking next door to see what's happening to the teams over there, who's winning, who's losing, that sort of a thing. There's no harm in any of that. But when you sit in the hack, you really have to be ready to make that shot. Well, I don't think Sarah got quite out to the broom on that one, Laura. I'm not really sure what happened to it, but in any event, she did roll out, which is really too bad. Sort of giving the advantage back to Team Godsland right now. So this is an open hit for Brooke. Open hit in that, we talk again about that level of that tolerance, is that there are some blue rocks behind her. So she really needs to just hit and roll out. There's no point in trying to lie 3. The force of 1 is on whether she gets 2 or 3. She doesn't need points. What she needs is to just remove this yellow rock and not have it come in contact with any of her own. So hitting the outside of it is the goal here.
Hence the
rolling
outside
out is
in
fine.
ice.
Yeah.
Brooke's tendency, I do remember from playing with her, that she does enjoy throwing inside out a lot more. And as you said, Cathy, most skips will put the broom on the outside of the rock.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the peel, I was surprised she went inside out because you had to roll quite a bit further to the what way are we looking here? Yeah, to the left, to hit a corner guard and then roll all the way to the other side. If you put the broom on the outside of the rock, you just basically had to almost flop to be out of play. So there's definitely a clear preference there from Brooke.
Mm-hmm. So Sarah's not happy with her draw weight, I don't think. She's playing this open hit, which, it's a skip's choice. It's whatever shot you can make. She needs to get her point here, so it's important for her to throw the kind of weight that's controllable. She needs to stick. She has to count right now. She can't afford to give up any more points.
Like a good throw, good release.
Yeah, in-turn hit for Sarah Boland. Looks like Beth is just dusting it on and off, on and off. That seems to indicate that she's on the nose, which is exactly where she needs to be. Good shot, got a little roll in, definitely 1 point. So after 4 ends, it is 7-2 for Team Godsland over Team Boland, and we will be back in 30 seconds or so. 7-2 for Team Godsland over Team Boland. We're in the fifth end here at the St. John's Curling Club in the Remax Center. Welcome back, everyone.
Sarah's team's been together maybe the longest, that foursome of any team in the event, Cathy?
I would say so, yeah. I think Stacy, Erica, and Julie have played together a number of times over the years. They seem to be a good combination. Camille, this is a couple of years for her with them, but not as many as Sarah's team, you're right.
Yeah.
Sarah and team went to the Scotties a couple of times during the pandemic. As I recall, I remember watching them on TV in the bubble.
Yeah. Yeah, they won to go the first year, and then the next year, Newfoundland didn't have a playoff.
And, they were offered the opportunity to go back, and they took it. And good for them, I would too, even if it is in a bubble. It's fun to play at those kinds of events. You know, it's a real experience. It's a real honor to be on the ice representing your province, and it's exciting, and the fans are involved. Well, when there are fans, I guess, but in her case, she wouldn't have had too many. It's just really electric in the arena, and it's so much fun to play. Really, really fun. I always hated the last game. It was like, oh God, is this over? I have to go back to my normal life now? Some nice rocks in play here, Laura, at the start of this fifth end.
All right.
Team Boland has their centerline guard. Team Godsland chose to go around it. Team Boland's followed them in and is frozen on top. It's a good setup. Nice start. Some good rocks being made, which is nice. Both teams.
Yep, they're great ones. The one disadvantage that Team Boland has is while they've played together for many years, Sarah actually lives out of town, so they don't get to practice together consistently like every other team out here, I think.
Yeah, Sarah and her husband, Adam, are both air traffic controllers, right? Out in Gander. Yeah. That's a really nice shot there by Kate. Also, Kate says, Mom, Dad, Rob, Jocelyn, hi. She said you're going to be watching. I'm counting on you knowing that this is me saying hi for her. Welcome to the broadcast. I guess you're not as nervous as you were when we first got started.
Parents are always nervous.
Of course. I was nervous. I was more nervous being up 7-2 than I ever was when the games were tied. It was like, what do we do now? I remember years and years ago when myself and Laura Phillips were playing, we were always of the mind that our success was based on the fact that we never changed our game plan. We talked about that, or you talked about that a few minutes ago. We couldn't change our plan. We couldn't hit we were garbage hitters, but we were really deadly drawers.
I would not say garbage, but your strength leans towards.
We definitely were not good hitters in comparison to teams like Colleen Jones who could hit their way out of anything. We just weren't that good at it, and it wasn't our forte. So when we got up points, we just kept playing. We played offensively all the time, and it got us, a fair amount of success because people just don't like you when you don't play the way you're supposed to play.
No,
and
they
teams don't know what to do when you continue to put pressure on. That's like any game. If you continue offensively, the other team is going to say, wait a minute, hang on, you're up points. What are you doing this for? And then they get so caught up in the fact that you're not playing the way the book says you should play, they don't know what to do with it. We had a fair amount of success because of that. We stuck to our plan, mainly because we didn't really have a lot of choice. But it worked for us in the meantime. We never really worked on our takeout games because we didn't care.
That's what made the matchups.
We weren't that bad. Don't get me wrong.
No, you were not. You were not.
We were never going to make triples. That's for sure.
That's what made the matchups against yourselves. When Laura skipped and when you skipped against Heather, and sometimes I was part of it, sometimes I wasn't. So interesting because Heather was known to be quite the hitting team, and you folks the drawing team. Before the 3, 4, 5 rock rule, you could get away with being a really good hitting team, like you said, Colleen Jones. Now you just can't unless the other team's willing to let you go there. You've got to be a drawing team.
Yeah. Well, the game's changed since those days too. Like I said, when we were playing back then, it was the Moncton rule. So, we wanted to junk it up. The other teams didn't, and you didn't have to. There was no rule that says you had to, but we did. We wanted to.
Well, I've told the story a number of times. My first Scotties, Colleen Jones was there. And I was fresh out of junior. We had Susan O'Leary at lead, and she fantastic lead, but I took her out of retirement. She was my chiropractor. I found out she'd curled and said, at second. And I said, well, Heather, my chiropractor curls. How about we give her a go? And then we had the great Michelle Baker, pretty well pulled out of seniors. So we were a bit of a riffraff team, and somehow got past you guys in the provincials, and played some really big names. But Colleen Jones being one of them. She was Team Canada at the time, and I can't remember the exact score. I want to say 3-2 or 4-3. 10-end game. That's very low scoring, and we actually beat that team, and they were significantly better than us, but they wanted to play the hit game and weren't aware that our little riffraff team, all we could do was hit. So it came down to, last rock, and anything can go either way. If they had played a more finesse game, we probably wouldn't have made it to the 10th end.
So we just had a bit of a whiff there by Sarah. She wasn't happy, a little tiny broom whack on the ice there. And, rightly so. Nobody wants to miss at this level. So a little bit of an advantage, I think I'll call it an advantage for Team Boland, in that there are plenty of rocks in play. There's a guard up front. Fortunately for Sarah, even though she missed, they're still shot rock, so it's not the end of the world here for Team Godsland. There's still some work to do for Team Boland, but there's lots of rocks in play, so anything can happen at this point. Looks like Brooke is fed up with the center guard, though. She's looking at trying to remove it somehow, and I think what she, go across the top of those two yellow ones, underneath her legs. You can see the two yellow ones on the screen there. If you hit the top guard in that direction, you should be able to remove both those yellows, and your blue, and your corner, and your shooter all at once. Everything should go if you hit it just right.
This is curling across center, is it? Or
I think it is. Yeah. Yes, I think it is.
It's kind of hard to go wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, there was lots of audibles.
Audibles, yes.
Lots of audibles.
Audible.
I know. I remember the first time I heard someone in curling refer to this as the audible. I remember thinking, oh, for God's sake, this is not football. This is curling. But it's the word that works.
No.
You don't like it?
I don't like it one bit. No.
Okay, what would you call that then? The alternate shot?
Plan B.
Plan B, okay. We'll go there.
Yes.
Plan B it is.
When I first heard audible, I thought there was something wrong with somebody's mic, because I don't watch football, and I had no idea what they were that word for.
Fair enough. I
think people love it or they hate it. A lot of haters in my world.
With the term audible?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't really blame you. I don't think I was really that happy with it when I first heard it too. I was like, what? But it fits, and I think, but I like Plan B just as much. So Sarah's being a bit tenacious here. I think she's being very patient. She's just throwing some yellow rocks in play, really hoping that the more rocks she gets in play, the more pressure it puts on Brooke and team, and maybe she might get a mistake out of them. Well, let's face it, when you're down 7-2, you need more than one mistake to happen in order for your team to get back into this game. So she's playing it right, I think. She's, playing lots of rocks, playing lots of junk, putting some rocks in play. It's a good shot, good move.
And mistakes are going to happen. I mean, again, we're so used to watching the slam teams on TV, where if you make one mistake, that's the difference in a game. I don't know if any rocks were touched there. We had a fall. But...
Yeah, slightly. The rock in the back four was inhibited. It would be deeper than it is, but it would still be shot, in my humble opinion. It was almost stopped when she stopped it, but it wasn't going any further than it is right now. So Erin's second attempt at those two yellow rocks worked out a little bit better for her. She was able to move some things around and open it up. The good news for Sarah Boland is that they are still lying number 2 and number 3, and it looks like Shot Rock might actually be available for Sarah if she wanted to hit it. I wouldn't do that, but she could do it. She's going to remove her own by doing that. I don't personally think that that's necessary. I think you can... I like the idea of tapping your own, actually, in this situation. The only way really to get in there is with some weight, because the hole or the path through the blue and the yellow is not that wide. So you can't really throw a draw in there because it's going to overcurl. What I like is tapping that yellow one that's in the top 8.
Yeah, it's a great call.
Straight up tap and ignore the blue rock altogether.
Again, there's room for error with that shot too. If you don't tap it perfectly, at least it leaves that top rock, leaves that there somewhere to be used.
You still have lots of yellow rocks in play. If she doesn't make this, then these 2 yellow rocks are going to disappear real quick. It's also tricky because you have to navigate that pathway between the 2 yellow and blue rocks, and it's not just a tap then, right? It becomes first we have to watch the line, then we have to watch the weight, and then we have to get it through the hole, and all of those things happen.
Oh, and a jam.
Oh, what do I know?
Huh.
What do I know? Good shot. Great shot, actually. So she's lying 3 for sure.
Yeah, neither of us saw that was lined up to jam on the blue.
No, I didn't think it was either. So she's lying 1, 2, and 3.
Yep, great call.
She did get a little bit of a flop over to the right-hand side as well, the right-hand side of our screen. So coming through the same hole to hit that rock now is not as pretty for Brooke as it was for Sarah. So Brooke is going after the top yellow, try and remove this one and one or both of the back yellow ones. I'm not sure that both is available, but certainly a double is doable here. Well, a bit of bad luck, I think, for Brooke there. She didn't made the double, but didn't remove one of the rocks because it jammed. I think she's left Sarah lying only 1, maybe 2. Difficult to say whether or not the yellow one that's in the back of the rings is out counting the blue one that's in front of it.
I'm going to bet any drinks on this game. Our angles just aren't.
No.
Our vantage point is not.
It's not.
Worth
it's
it.
not great. No. But Sarah's definitely lying 1.
Yes.
we know that much. And she's looking at hitting and rolling, and I think she's looking at hitting and rolling because maybe she wants to lie 3. Otherwise, why would you do that? And wouldn't you just draw to lie a number 1 and 2?
Yes.
I would like to think. But this is not the first time that Sarah's chosen to play the hit instead of the draw, so she might be just not feeling her draw weight very well, and that may be the case. While we're waiting for Sarah to throw, we will come back to you and let you know that on sheet 1 with Curtis playing Guju, Curtis was able to tie it up in the 4th end. She got 2 back after the steal of 3 given to Haley Guju in the 3rd end. So it's 3-3 now over on sheet 1 in the other women's game. They've got a burner going over there. We'll keep you posted as things go by.
We got here a bit of an over. No. So she avoided clipping her back one. She is lying 1, 2.
Definitely lying 3 now. No chance to get rid of more than 1. No chance to make a triple for Brooke. So she's just going to hit 1 and...
Yeah, I think this is the last rock, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's got to stick, though.
Yeah.
She has to stick to avoid giving up a steal of 2.
Throwing the outside in. Not a lot of ice, but which is probably accurate because it's not curling a ton. Got to throw the right weight here, though. If you throw weight, it's going to bounce off harder, and it's a little harder to stick around. But if you drop your weight, likelihood of sticking around is better, but likelihood of it picking up curl is, well. So the sweepers have to let the line caller know what kind of weight is coming at them. And looking good.
Just a little dust, a little bit of carve here now. Nice shot. Solid hit there for 1. So after 5, as we go into the 5th end break, it is 8-2 for Team Godsland over Team Boland, and we'll be back after the break. Take about 5 minutes. Thank you. So, welcome back, everyone. While we were gone, want to give you a little bit of an update here. Nathan Young just picked up 2 more, is up 9-2 over Trent Skane's last rock thrower Matthew Blanford, and they have conceded. So Nathan takes another win into into the weekend. He'll be happy with that. And otherwise, that's your sheet 3 score for the men. On sheet 4, we've got Team Hancock playing Team Walters, and it is 4-2 for Team Hancock. Team Hancock will have last rock in the 6th end when they get back from the break. Team Tipple and Team Simmons have a close game going. It's 2-1 for Team Simmons over Tipple. Tipple has last rock going in the 6th end when they come back from the break. And on sheet number 6, Team Greg Smith is up 5-2 over Team Dave Thomas, and they are just in the just finished blank the 5th. They're playing the 6th end now.
And on our sheet, we had we opened with a miss. Brooks' lead, Kate, dropped one short. I can assure you, being up as many points as she did not want to guard. Then I would say a bit of a miss as well with Adrian's corner guard being very, very close to the center line. Cathy, they're not listening to you. Once again, going to that side of the sheet and not attempting to go to the other one and see if they can get some misses or some extra curl over there.
I got to say, from the very first or beginning of this game, when Brooke missed that intern hit from the center line out, I'd been putting my corner guards over there so fast, make her throw that intern, draw, hit, whatever the case may be, because she obviously did something strange with it, and you'd want her to repeat it as many times as you could get her to repeat it. But they don't seem to want to be doing that. So that's, that's up to them. And like I said, we don't know what's going on over there, but I think I would try it. At this point, if I was down 8-2, I would try something different. Another update for you on sheet number 1 in the other women's game. Haley Gushu has just picked up 2 more on Stacey Curtis, so they have gone up 5-3, and they've gone into their 5th end break as well. So coming into the 6th end, Stacey will have hammer after their break. Take a few minutes now to tell you a little bit about the team's sponsors. I'll start with Team Godsland. We spoke with the girls earlier, and they wanted to say thank you very much to their sponsors, which, as we've said many times in these broadcasts, these teams can't compete at this level without some financial support from the local community, and Team Godsland's no different than the rest of them. They want to say a big shout out to Barn Find Eggs out in Deer Lake. Egg farmers in Newfoundland, gotta love them. Hardline Ice Pad is sponsoring this team as well. And from Nova Scotia, a food truck called Bud the Spud. Want to shout out to our Nova Scotia viewers and say please support local community, no matter where you are in Atlantic Canada. We're all over that. Another one of their sponsors is Attain Physio and Sport Performance Center. They are sponsoring a couple of teams here in the ladies this weekend, and so good for them to Attain Physio, Attain. And their last and final sponsor for Team Godsland is World Energy GH2. So thanks very much on behalf of the ladies. They are very happy to have you on board, supporting their team. And as you can see, they're running a fairly successful game out there tonight. Good for them.
We'll come back to sponsors and again in a second here, Cathy. Be rocks in play again. I was kind of surprised that Brooke called the come around after her lead had that tight center guard. Mm-hmm. Kind of taking a page out of your book though, to, like you said, keep the pressure on. You could have peeled your own guard out and you were rocks in play. As a result of her call, I'd tell you got 4 of her rocks in play all behind the tee line, which is again in favor of Boland.
She got lucky there with that hit in that she removed both of the corner guards that Team Boland had put in there. But in exchange for that, she's like, to your point, Laura, has placed 4 blue rocks behind the tee line. So now Sarah is not going to hit this. She's just playing a little tap. She's going to build a wall behind these yellow ones and say to Brooke, okay, if I can't do it with guards, then I'm going to do it with more rocks. So let's go.
And Beth, actually, this is her second shot, but Beth's first shot, she took that guard and tapped it back to the behind the R in Remax. That was actually the guard that I'm saying that Brooke could have peeled out.
I see. Yeah.
And Beth's shot rolled to the left there. So really great shot from Beth. Great weight and great line on that.
So we're on thirds rocks here now. This is a first for Erin Porter. She's going to want to try and remove this, and I'll say out loud here that Brooke won't be unhappy if she takes that blue one off the forefoot as well. They're up 8-2, and they certainly don't need any more points. So while you're at it, Erin, you may as well take the blue one behind it. Okay, so you know what? That's good.
Yeah.
She got two of her own out of play, and she got Sarah's rock out of play as well. So Sarah's going to make another throw at this. Still a couple of blue ones behind the tee line. Still opportunity here for Sarah to score for sure. Okay, so outturn tap for Kelly. Goal here would be to spread this blue one a little bit further to the right than the other two blue ones. Make as big a wall as you can.
And I said a couple ends ago, I don't think I finished my sentence, but I'm sure I cut myself off. Never been good at that, but anyway. I was saying there will be misses. We're used to watching the slam teams. As I said, one miscue can cost you the game with the slam team. There have been a lot of misses this week, and on the men's side, on the women's side, it's just, again, a result of just not being able to play as many games and, go up against the, you got to play the best to be the best, that sort of thing. And it's no disrespect to the players out there. I've been one of them. There will be misses. You can count on that. So
Yeah.
You can call a strategy sometimes for misses too, which kind of goes against what you're taught when you're watching on TV. You never call something for someone to miss, but you
Right.
can kind of adjust. It is a bit of a different game when you're playing at this level.
Nice shot there by Erin. Didn't get any of the other blue ones off of the back, but I don't think they were trying. To be fair, I think she would have been happy to stay there in the forefoot. I wouldn't. I think I'd be trying really hard to remove some of that blue, but either way, they've been successful so far this end in keeping Sarah from lying any more than one. So, good on them. They're accomplishing what they need to accomplish. So, who am I to argue with that? It's not, certainly not the way most people would play it, but it's working. To your point, it might be because Boland's team's not able to actually get that perfect freeze or that perfect tap.
Girls are sweeping this one hard. I mentioned earlier about the intricacies of sweeping. One example is for quite a while, you had your kind of favorite brand of broom, and you'd look across the sheet and see different, Asham, gold line, hard line. Look across the sheet here now, and I don't think there's a single broom that isn't hard line. And there's a reason for that. Finally, word got out. The top teams knew it sooner than the rest of us, but word got out that when all the studies were conducted, hardline brooms are simply more effective than the other brands.
Aha.
Not one out there that isn't.
I miss the scratching of the ice. This is when we played with our favorite was performance brooms, right? Yeah. And they had a nice feel to them. When you swept, you felt that you were sweeping. You could feel the scratch under. Now they've changed the materials. You can't do that anymore because it was allowing teams to be able to manipulate the rocks too much, which is the study that the Guju team did actually and caused that whole ruckus a few years ago about all of us having to have the yellow material on the broom heads. But either way, I kind of missed it when I was almost at the end of my career when it happened, but at the end of the day, I found it a really big adjustment to go from a broom that felt like you were actually doing more work to a broom that felt like you were really not doing anything at all. So I always found it really hard to believe that you could actually manipulate anything with those brooms because the material didn't really allow you to do it. But you can.
And then you go back. Heather asked me last night what my first broom was, and I said I think it was actually a hammer broom, which people, I'm sure it was short lived, but the Schmerler team brought it into fashion, and it looked like a Fisher Price
I had
building
one.
block, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she reminded me, I'd forgotten about the hog hair brooms, which probably had the longest lifespan of any curling broom. They were kind of on top for years.
Yeah.
And that was a rewarding sweep too, because when you saw those bristles spread,
Yeah.
you knew you were
You were putting pressure on the
exactly.
broom, right? Yeah. I liked those brooms. Played with all those. I actually had a corn broom when I started, so
Oh dear.
yeah,
Oh.
there you go. Played with them all. But I like the hog hair ones better than the horse hair ones. I found the hog hair one was better for the female curlers anyway, as far as I was concerned. Well, maybe with my size and technical ability, it was a better broom.
I was gonna say I like
but a lot of people like the horse hair better than the hog hair. And we're dating ourselves now, Laura.
well, and the
I'm
head of the
really
broom,
dating myself.
Yeah, the the straw broom was a bit much. You could have sat on that one, but
Another nice shot by Team Godsland. This is a bit of a tricky situation for Team Boland here. Still have to move this, I think. Do you, Laura? Can you draw to the back one?
I don't think
No,
so.
not really. Not enough room. Just wanted to check the angle there for a second, folks, while we, because we're a little bit distorted here. But there isn't really an opportunity to draw to the blue rock that's in the back four. It'll be wide open, so she's got to tap this. This is the last rock anyway, so it doesn't matter. Sorry. I was thinking there was more rocks to come, but there's not.
And I was still thinking about brooms. What I was going to say is the hog broom, the hair brooms were significantly heavy because they were made of wood at the end. So it was a huge adjustment for all of us too to go to deliver the rock without that kind of weight at the bottom of your broom.
Yeah.
A bit of an anchor, and then these new brooms are like feathers basically. So it really affected your delivery and took a lot of getting used to.
So big sweep going on here for Adrian. They really need to hit and stick this one. She's got to kind of move this one off the back of the forefoot as well at the same time in order to score a point for
Nice
her.
shot.
Well done. So 1 yellow for Team Boland. It's 8-3 now.
Look back at the scoreboard almost to say. Brooke is hobbling. She definitely hurt herself somehow.
That started last year.
So we're
Right?
score 1 for Team Boland. in the 6th end. So it's 8-3 now. Time is running out for Team Boland, Laura. I mean, I hate to say it, but it is the 7th end. So right now, I think if I was Sarah, I would be knee deep in guards. Try and get something going behind that corner, behind that guard that she put up. Maybe put up 2 guards, although that's not placed all that great for a 2-guard steal attempt. But that's what I would be doing if I was her.
Is it even? Going to say, is it even touching the center line? But you don't really need to play the tick if you're Brooke. You just need to make things go away.
I think so. Now, this I disagree with. I will say, I hope they talk her out of it, but I see no reason to move that. I would just draw right around all of it. Draw around all of it, or put up another guard, do something. But trying to put this or push this anywhere is really irrelevant. She needs guards in play up front, and there's already one there, so put up another one.
100%. There's actually 2 there because that's essentially a guard.
Right.
She's taking away a guard from herself.
Yeah, exactly. She's replacing the guard with her own guard, which is kind of a waste. You don't have that many rocks left in the game, and I think she needs to sort of do a little bit of adjustment. Like I said, they are down 5 points with just 4 ends left to play, and that's a fairly big deficit to make up for.
And in fairness to her, we saw her look back at the scoreboard at the end of the last end, almost wondering whether or not she should shake hands, I think. So, you
Could be.
going to call on your teammates to kind of keep you in the game because it's hard when you're up there alone and stewing over missed shots and probably freezing to death. And
all of that.
And you got the other 3 have the support of each other. So
yes,
I think if it were a bit more intensity, she probably would know better than to make that call.
Yeah, I would agree. Laura. I think while things are shaping up here and while both teams try and build and break down this end, I'll give a shout out on behalf of Team Boland to their sponsors. They're very happy to have O'Day Earl as their title sponsor this year and grateful for all of the support that's provided by them. They also have Onside Restoration, which your sister spoke of this afternoon and said, not the guys you really want to have to call, but when you do have to call someone to help you, these guys are the ones. Atlantic Offshore Medical Services is another sponsor of theirs, along with Pinnacle Engineering. They're also supported by Steers Insurance and the Medicine Shop Pharmacy. They too have egg farmers of Newfoundland and Labrador, so there's lots of egg farmers out there sponsoring our team. So guys, eat up your protein. Signal Property Management, and last but not least, IcePad Hardline. So you're right. The thing I like about the hardline situation that you were just talking about there, Laura, is that even though they are obviously producing brooms and broom heads that are the most effective, they're still throwing some money at curlers and helping them to, play better, helping them reduce costs and that kind of thing. And when we've got such a large volume of market share in a small area like curling brooms, not every company would be so generous with their revenues. And, it's really nice to see, because I think almost all of the competitive curling teams in this event are sponsored by Hardline IcePad, which means they're not the only ones in the country being sponsored by this company. They're probably in other curling clubs in other jurisdictions and other provinces across the country. So good for them. That's a lot of sponsorship to one's curling sport. I mean, I know they do curling brooms, so, fair enough, but you don't have to throw that much money at so many teams, but they do. Good for them.
And the cost of the fabric, again, club curlers probably use the same fabric for years, but when you're playing at this level, you'll change that fabric every game, and the cost of a package of those fabric pieces isn't cheap. So
No.
your expenses can really add up without support from the company like that. Those of you who know my father, sorry, first of all. No, I should apologize if you've given him your email, is what I should say.
Yeah.
I just did see an email come in, and it says, "Happy birthday, Eugene." So I guess it is Eugene Trickett's birthday today. Worth mentioning, because
there you
he's,
go.
of course, coach of the Unless there's another
Curtis
Eugene
team.
in our life. I hope not. Yep, it's Trickett. So happy birthday to Coach Trickett.
Yeah, happy birthday to Eugene. He is coaching his daughter over there on sheet 1. Erica Curtis now, used to be Trickett. Curls with Stacy Curtis, no relation. They're in a barn burner over there against Haley Guju. In our game, Sarah is placing guards, which is a good thing. Not quite the placement I think that she was looking for. Gives Brooke an opportunity to remove both of them. So this is probably going to see both of these disappear. I think you can get them all going in the same direction, can you not, Laura? The two top ones, the shooter and the top one will go right and the other one will go left.
Yes.
Or the other way around if you're looking at the screen.
And I did get a text as well saying that the angle, they thought we were making a mistake with the camera angle, just to let people know that the cameras themselves are actually over sheet 3 and 4. So in an effort to make sure that the women get coverage and important games are covered, sometimes we have to kind of twist the camera. And our wonderful technology team is able to do that. And my good buddy, Trevor Bartlett, is the one that's helping us out this evening.
How do you spell my last name?
Trevor over here who's making noises that sound like corn brooms while I'm talking about corn brooms so that I will laugh in the middle of my diatribe. Anyway, back to the game. Out-turn draw around the corner guard here. Big shot here for Kelly. She really needs to get this in here. They can lie 2 in behind cover. Gives them a little bit of a breathing space. Well done. Nice shot. Piece of it outside. Brooke is not going to be fooled by that, though. She's just going after the top guard. So we'll throw out another update on sheet 1, the other ladies' game. Haley Guju just stole 2 more from Stacy Curtis. She is now up 7-3 after 6 ends. So she seems to have good control of that game. We'll see there's still 4 ends left. They just finished the 6th end, so they're a little bit behind us. But nevertheless, a nice steal there by Haley.
Cathy, at the beginning of the evening, you did say that Team Guju has a win in them this
Yes, they
week.
do. You're right.
Fair to say, though, I think it is a bit of a surprise that they're up this much, certainly, on defending champion.
Yeah. I bet you there's no one more surprised than Stacy right now. And team, I should say, not just Stacy. I don't know what happened there in the 6th end. I did see a couple of shots at the corner of my eye, Laura, and I know Stacy's last rock or first rock. I think maybe it was her first rock. She did what she wanted to do with it, but didn't get out of it what she wanted. She ended up ticking off something else and driving another one of Guju's team rocks into the 4-foot. And I think that was the writing on the wall there for the steal of 2.
Okay.
I don't think anyone saw it coming. I got the impression that the shot that she called was made, but got a little rub off something and it didn't work out as well as they'd hoped.
Right.
Nice peel there by Team Godsland. So now Sarah and team are already lying 1, so they don't really have the luxury of being able to place more guards now. They just kind of have to go in and lie 2 and hope for the best here, Laura.
Kelly Sharp calling line on that. Probably the most experienced player on that team. Beth has been to a number of Scotties as well, but I think Kelly's been to the most on the team. And certainly curled the longest. It does mean you're the oldest, Kelly, sorry, but started
It does though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Started her curling career with Heather, my sister, and they actually went to high school together. And I'm pretty sure Kelly wouldn't have even curled if it wasn't for the friendship that they built together. And
Yeah. Fun fact about Kelly, she was the one who dethroned myself and Laura Phillips from our 5-year run at the Scotties. She was playing with your sister when they beat us in 1998. That was their first Scotties. They were pretty excited about that.
They were fresh out of junior.
Yeah, they were. And I think we kind of underestimated them. I'll be fair and say that. Although we did know they were coming. We knew they were coming up from juniors, and we knew they were going to be trouble when they did.
I don't know how much you knew they were studying you, but Heather, I
They
remember
were.
her.
Oh no, I know. Yeah,
I remember her coil exercise book
I
where
have
she
it.
would write.
she gave it to me.
She gave it to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she would
gave it to me.
VHS tape all of your games and make handwritten notes as to calls that were made. Yeah, no, she
Every
really.
game we played at the 1997, I think it was 1997. Might have been 97, could have been 94. Can't remember which one, but I have the binder at home. All the hand-drawn houses with all the hand-drawn rocks and the analysis of each game and each rock. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that I didn't remember what happened after the game was over. And she's giving me this whole like memory book. It was good though. I still have it, so obviously I appreciate it.
It was pretty impressive, and she would tell you that it's a large part of why she had the success she has is watching you folks and playing with you.
Mm.
And it's a lesson to the up and comers. You got to watch. You can't just go down and play the game and then wait till your next one to learn your lessons. You got to watch what the top teams are doing. Learn from their mistakes. You don't have enough time to just learn from all your own.
The other side of it is you can learn a lot of other things too. You learn new rules. You keep up on the changes that are going on around you in the game and how the strategy of the game changes with each of the change in the rules that happen. And if you're just going to expect to be a competitive curler and just, like to your point, go play in your play downs, then not take in every other opportunity that you have to gain some knowledge about the game, then I don't think your success rate is going to be as high. So Sarah's done her job here. She's line 2. And Brooke has to hit and stick now to avoid giving up a steal. So she will attempt this out-turn hit.
Perfectly thrown. No pressure.
Yeah, so this is one more point for sure. I was waiting, actually. They're hesitating because there was a blue rock over in the corner of the 12-foot over by the Remax balloon that I wondered whether or not it was actually on, but no one was paying any attention to it, so I guess not. So score of 1 for Team Godsland, and they are now up 9-3 after 7 ends. Welcome back, everyone, or welcome back to us because you guys are still here. Some corner guard placement going on here. Sarah Hill, she did give up a point here, but she does have last rock now, so this will be a good opportunity for her to go really hard to get a 3-ender here, Laura. And I think placing corner guards is going to be really important.
And she's still opting for that same side of the sheet.
Yeah.
Or
She knows
17th
something we don't
roll.
know.
Or I just want to see what it does on
I
that
would
other
like to see what
side.
goes on over there too. Yeah. So we can't hit yet because it's too early in the game, too early in the end. I'm sorry. So Brooke is calling to come around the center guard that she placed with her first rock. So I'm not sure that that was the call. I didn't see the call, whether or not it was to play a guard or it was to come top four. But
I think top four. I can't
yeah, it's
imagine
a bit
throwing a guard.
unconventional to throw the guard. Although
Yeah.
I like the idea of the guard, so I think it's like, yeah, well, you know what? If you want to get extra points, now you're gonna have to go around the middle. I'm not gonna let you just play the corners. I'll put the center guard up, but that's me and my offensive play.
Yeah.
You know, way back when we were like, yeah, no, I don't want to go over there. I want to stay here. This is how we play, so we're gonna play here.
Whereas
It's unconventional, obviously, very unconventional, but I like it. You know, I have no problem with it. Let's just say that.
Yeah, whereas if you lay on the ice, you melt it. So I wouldn't do that, but I would certainly put up a line of grippers in the way before you threw that guard.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, yeah. You don't like that call?
I don't love that call.
You sure? I don't mind it.
I do lean to the defensive side, but I think in this case it's simply reality, and you're up 9-3.
Yeah, true.
But I get
Also,
that you're
I will
throwing it out
say,
there.
I mean, this is just an opportunity as a learning point for those that are watching, because you know the score is 9-3. It doesn't really matter.
No.
Guards is what Sarah Boland needs, so it doesn't make any difference where she puts them. But I will say, because there is a but, when your first corner guard is in the middle, it's not short or long. I like a better idea of going to the other side as opposed to grouping them together. Like, you have no choice over here if you're putting up two corner guards, but to group them together by virtue of where the first one ended up. There's not enough room to separate them enough. So when that happens, I would go to the other side.
Yeah.
If the first corner guard had been very short or very long, then I would put the second guard over there, but not when you have to group them together.
A lot of rocks on sheet one.
Yeah.
We can't help but kind of scan over there. There's 3 rocks that aren't in play.
There's a lot of rocks over there. There is, yes. They're
Or
at Skip's Rocks.
7-3 and
Yeah, they're at Skip's Rocks. There's a lot that can happen right now, so we probably are. Is it really pointless to get into it with this broadcast as well? And outturn, come around attempt, a bit short there, unfortunately for Beth, but still she left it in a good place.
Beth
The
is
tolerance,
usually gonna,
tolerance
she's
on that
usually-
was not to be long, so she's, good for her. They do need rocks in play, and guards are not going to hurt her.
Yeah, Beth's usually going to miss the right way.
Yeah, one thing I can say about Beth is if she has a bad game, she has a bad game, but she rarely has a bad game because she wasn't thinking. She's a strategic thinker when she's out there on the ice, and she rarely loses her focus. So, good for her for that.
Yeah. That was an interesting jam there. Unfortunate for Team Boland, and kind of didn't really see it coming.
For Team Godsland, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. A glimmer of hope for Team Boland in the meantime. They've got some corner guards now. Now we're going to see that in-turn draw finally. And see what happens to it. So in-turn draw from Beth Hamilton. She's probably the best one to be throwing it to because she's been throwing really well all day. Yeah. So unfortunately, this is not working out the way they had hoped. It's a bit short. Now, that could be because that side of the ice is lay idle for a little while. There hasn't really been a lot of play from the center line out. So, excuse me, if you don't play it, then it does become a bit of a guess for the first rock that you throw down there. But once again, good on Beth for being on the right side of the inch there. So she didn't make the shot, but she didn't throw it through either. So she still has a guard. which is going to be used. Sarah just needs to figure out where to put the broom now to get it around those corner guards. Brooke is just playing this peel, so she'd be happy to take both guards if she can. If she hits it thin, she'll take both guards. Otherwise, she's going to try and take that yellow one off the forefoot at the same time she peels away this blue shot. I think. I think she was hoping to come off the back of that yellow one and shove it over a little bit, but it didn't quite hit it. That was pretty thin, actually. They didn't hit very much of that, so I'm not sure that that was actually a plausible in any way. I don't know that she could have made that to come off the back of that yellow. So this is a split.
Yeah, this is up for
July
discussion.
3.
You
I think it's a bit early for that. I'd be tending to go around it and just keep the pressure on. Try and get around those corner guards again, or go around this one again.
Yeah, I mean the split would have
Yeah.
you laying 3, so you're it's tempting.
But they're all going to
it's-
be open.
Absolutely, it's too early to.
Yeah. Unless you get a really good split here, and I don't know how you can avoid it, you're probably going to set up some kind of double for Brooke. I don't know, but the best thing that could happen would be to straight up tap it and then, see what happens.
Well, she made the shot that was called.
That she did.
Thrown.
I think that top one is on, Laura.
I think so.
Looks like it could be. It's hard to tell from any of our vantage points.
Where's
actually.
our guy? Our guy over there sitting next to my mother.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Sarah's
know
dad.
that. I don't know if he has any better view over there or not.
There.
To be fair, we haven't called on him since the second end, so
That's true.
he's not giving us any attention anymore. So outturn hit here for Aaron Porter, and this is a bit steep for a double. So I suspect the call is really just to hit and roll in front of the other yellow and kind of stay in the way.
Cuts the rings down for Sarah.
Yeah, it does. It certainly takes that top yellow one out of play. And, again, there to your point in playing the split is now they don't have the guard, and they also don't have 3 rocks in the rings anymore because of that roll, which is really going to be hard for Sarah to remove. It's going to be hard to get that yellow. That yellow at the top of the house is going to be hard to get it back into play. So straight up in-turn draw, try and get another piece of it around some of those corner guards, set it up so that even if you just get a corner of it under there, it might possibly jam on that black-blue one. So all is not lost here for Team Boland, not by any means. They're still very much in control of this end and certainly in position to score multiple points.
We've been a bit hard on Sarah with a few of her calls. But every team has their own sort of way of working things. I haven't heard much from her team or seen much from her team. People walking down and offering other suggestions, and that might just be how things work. But she's, seems to be a bit on her own out there, trying to get back in it.
Yeah, and just because we don't like what she plays doesn't mean it's the wrong thing to play. I mean, there haven't been. In this particular case tonight, I think it's more about missed rocks than it is about missed calls. And I mean, fundamentally, we've talked about this a couple of times during broadcasts since the beginning of this weekend. And I'll quote Glenn Goss. I don't know if it's Glenn's quote, but he's the one who said it to me, is that there are no bad calls, there are just bad shots. If you make the shot that's called, chances are you're going to be in better position. And even if it isn't exactly the right call, you're probably not going to be in too much trouble either. So, it does really come down to execution at the end of the day.
Most times.
Yeah.
However, Kelly did make the exact shot that Sarah called. The split was made quite well.
She did, yes, she did. And, a good hit and roll took it all away.
But generally speaking, yes, Glenn, you're right.
So Brooke makes the hit, but she doesn't get the roll she wants. It goes to the open side, or maybe she did, and she's content to give Sarah her 2. I would be if I were her. It is the 8th end after all. She'll be up 4. with last rock in the ninth end.
Yeah.
So I don't think giving up 2 is going to be too harmful to her. So she may have been trying to roll over there and keep Sarah from getting a roll under. So in-turn hit here.
Called right out of her hand.
Still have a couple of skips rocks left to come. This is a big sweep going on here, Laura. She really needs to stick here. Stick somewhere. Still line 1. And now Brooke is going to, by the looks of it, at least consider that in-turn draw that no one wants to play. While we're waiting for the girls to decide how they're going to approach this last rock of Brooks, an update on sheet 1 is that Team Curtis did get 2 points back. So it's 7-5 for Team Haley Gouju and in the 8th end, and Team Gouju has last rock in the 8th. So they're up to with hammer and in the even end. So they do definitely have control of that game going on over there. Now, whether they can keep it is up for discussion, but they're definitely in control. So in-turn draw attempt here for Brooke Godsland. She's going to try and freeze down to this yellow rock belong to Sarah, or at least get it in a position where Sarah can't really remove it and will possibly have to just take her 1 point. She'd prefer not to give up 2, but again, like we were just saying, I don't think it will kill her to give up 2. She won't be too upset about it if that happens. I mean, we all like to make our rocks, but when you're up 6 points, it's, if you don't make one just so, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Be interested to see how many draws Brooke has thrown this game. Given the score, not very many, I don't think.
So this is interesting now. If there's a way for Sarah to get around the outturn here and remove this blue rock, she can get 3.
Yep.
I don't know what the corner guard situation is over there.
It's better if you're
and
left-handed.
how much of it is showing, but we'll send someone over to the other side now and see if we can get a better feel for it.
I heard you and Heather talking earlier today about left-hand attack versus right-hand attack, and
yeah, the left-hand attack would be helpful here for sure. No, okay. So there's not a whole lot shown, and unfortunately the glass doesn't go over far enough here in the upper lounge for us to stand right behind the ice to see. But from our vantage point here in the upper lounge, we feel that the outturn around all those guards to tap that blue rock is not easy. Not easy. So that's why Sarah's looking at the double from blue onto blue from the top 12, which is also not easy.
not easy. You could also run. Yellow.
Oh yeah, no. No.
Well,
I don't know about you, but the last time I played, I was near where Brad Gouju is. So I think you probably have to be as good as he is to make that.
that's for 3, whereas the blue double.
The blue double, I'm okay with. The yellow double, though, I'm not okay with.
Well, that's for 3.
The blue double is for. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
The blue double is, well, no, I don't know if you can stick the shooter, can you?
No.
Maybe. Is that out of the yellow one in? Because that's worth trying if the top yellow one, we think that's in, don't we? Yeah. What's easier? The wide outturn tap or it would be an outturn double for me because I would never play that in turn off the center, as we discussed earlier.
Yes.
Not for me. Lots of discussion here. So the girls are taking a few minutes to try and decide really what is the best thing for them to do.
Timeout going on because Laura Phillips on the ice.
Okay, missed that.
No one knows her better than you, Cathy.
I think at this point, if I'm the coach, no matter who the coach is, it's all up to Sarah,
Yeah.
right? Neither one of those shots is easy, so she's got to play what she feels is the most makeable shot for her. I'm going to say, based on where the broom is, it's got to be an outturn, hey?
Yeah. Outturn? Negative ice?
Yeah, I guess so. Goes hard the other way, so could be actually a bit of a
Yeah.
fallback here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do or die, I think.
It's an intern. She's throwing an intern, so.
Close. They are calling with passion still.
Oh, great shot. Didn't even call that shot.
Nope.
We didn't even see that
Did
shot.
not see
We
that.
thought she was playing blue on blue. It was yellow on yellow and 3 points, just like that.
Great shot.
Well, I think it's 3 points, but
Great
they're
ice
still talking
read,
about
great
it. They're still
weight.
looking at it, whether the top blue one is out counting this back yellow. Looks like yellow all day to me. Oh, yeah, there.
Spotted.
Aaron's kicked it away. So that's 3 yellow for, 3 yellow for Team Boland. So that takes us 9-6 after 8 ends. 2 ends left. We'll be right back. So, bit of a momentum swing there. I don't know, Laura, if it's going to be enough, but it's certainly enough to keep the girls out there, keep them into the game. They're just down 3. It's not impossible to steal a couple, but it's definitely going to be all about stealing. So, a tight guard here. Doesn't look that tight on the screen, but it is pretty tight. I think second guard. Just over the hog line would be the next call for me if I was Sarah, but we'll see what she does. And once again, because it's placed perfectly by Adrian in that it's splitting the center line, can't be removed, can't be ticked.
And a miscue there by
Yeah.
by Godsland's lead.
Kate Patterson.
Back,
She
back
bit
house.
wide. I guess the extra weight kept it out there. Didn't get the curl, so she's in the back 8 or back 4. So yeah.
Now,
Sarah's
I think
going
if
to
I
ignore it
knew-
anyway, even if it was on the T line.
Yeah, I think if I knew it was going to be there, I'd go way deep. As
Yeah.
a skip, I'd ask my sweepers to just bring it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of get it out of the play. She doesn't want to put more back there for Sarah to get caught on or to for her to jam something on. So best to get rid of it. So the call here is, as I suspected, just over the hog line. Leave this as high as she can as a second guard. So while we have a few minutes, we'll just give you an update of the men's game. As we reported earlier, Nathan Young has beaten Trent Gaines. Team Hancock is down 6-4 against Team Walters. There's some excitement out there. We can hear it. Oh, he did. He just got 3, so he's gone up 1 on Harold Walters. Team Tipple and Team Simmons are still battling out there in the 8th end now. It's 4-1 for Team Simmons. Team Smith and Team Thomas are all finished. Team Smith has won that game against Team Thomas. So the standings in the men's still have 2 teams, Team Smith and Team McNeil Lambswood at 6-1. Also now Nathan Young has retained a share of the lead at 6-1 as well. Team Simmons will really want to win this game against Team Tipple to stay in the running because they currently have 2 losses. So, and tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, Team Smith is playing Team Young. So one of them is going to end up with another loss. 2 losses will keep you in this. 3 losses may not. That's the men's side of things.
Kate Peterson just came back with a fantastic shot.
Wow, good
Top
for
4,
her.
fully buried. And it takes the wind out of the sails of Boland.
Yeah, that's a great shot. Really nice, actually. She got a good curl around that guard, too.
Yeah.
It goes to show you with the right weight that it will actually bend in there. So, out turn. A little bit deep for Beth, but she does come into the back one, so she leaves her yellow one in play, which is good. It's going to be hard for Team Boland to get something going with that top blue one.
Got to be impressed
I think
with
if I was Godsland, I'd be looking at those guards. Can she hit them yet? No, maybe she can't hit them yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can hit them, right? I'd be peeling.
Yes. I would be.
Up
Would be my
3
line
with
of
glass
grippers
rocks,
in
I
black.
would be peeling. I would not be hitting something in the back 8, back 4.
Again, not sure it's going to cost her with this.
No,
much of a
because of
lead,
the
but
placement of Kate's or Sarah's, whichever one it was, because of the placement of that rock in the 4 foot, it's going to take a couple of rocks for Sarah to outcount it or to deal with it. So, it's not a huge panic. And I think that might be blindsiding Brooke in that she's looking at that as a really good setup. And if she peels the guards, then it's no longer a really good setup. But at the end of the day, she doesn't need points. She needs to make sure she doesn't give up a steal.
And how do you steal? Cards.
Yeah, exactly. So it may not look like it right now that Brooke is in trouble. And, in the end, she may not be in trouble. But the only way for her to assure that she stays out of trouble is to hit the front. So you need to be peeling if you're Team Godsland, but they are not. We'll see how that works out. So another come-around attempt for Beth Hamilton to try and get around these yellow guards and freeze tap this blue rock that was so beautifully placed by Team Godsland. This is really close to the guard, but if they get it by, they're going to have some beautiful line. Tick, tick, tick.
Stays as a guard.
Yeah.
And it did take that center guard over, so now the blue is more accessible. Brooke is going to throw another one in the house.
Well, that's a lot of risk. I don't think she needs to take, but she seems to be content to do so. So I guess we'll just see how this goes, Laura, because, there's only so many times we can disagree with what she's doing. Let's see how it pans out for her.
Big shot on sheet 1 here. Very nice shot. Oh, I thought it was last rock. Sorry, we'll keep the suspense and tell you what happened shortly.
So Kate Patterson made a nice draw, and Sarah McNeil Lambswood followed it up with an equally nice draw. These are really great shots. I do think, like to your point, by virtue of the tick on the guard by Beth Hamilton, that these are a little bit more available to Team Boland right now. So Sarah is going to ask Kelly. Aaron's on the other team. ask Kelly to see if she can tap one of these blue ones out of play now. It'd be great if she could get right to the nose of this blue one and stay right there. If she rolls off, I don't know that it will have the same impact, but you see Beth trying to carve this in here, really needs to curl in order to do something with the...
I think the line was good. They called
Yeah.
the weight up out of her hand. And I think it
Okay,
was...
so it was a bit heavier than expected, yeah.
One thing you got to be impressed with this team, though, is you really can't tell if they're up 5 or down 5.
No.
They have the same emotion
Mm-hmm.
or lack thereof,
Yeah.
regardless. And that serves you well.
I think, there is a lot of argument to be made for no emotion at all. Like, there's a lot of players that will tell you, and sports psychologists will tell you that regardless of whether you're up or you're down, your psyche is affected by that, your adrenaline and everything else. And if you get too excited when you're up, then you will overthrow rocks. And, likewise, if you get too angry or too upset, you can still have that sort of feeling that's inside of you that you can't really control. And either way, emotionless is much better for clear-headed game playing. Now, good luck attaining that, but that's what they'll tell you.
Well, and you lead by
Lots of
example,
practice. You need
too.
lots of practice you need lots of practice in that situation to be able to control your emotions to that point.
And yeah, and I would say it starts at the skip in particular. If your skip seems and remains calm, then it calms down the rest of the team.
Yeah.
Said the other night that Colleen Jones was definitely, I would say, the first team, men's or women's, to bring sports psychology into the game. And she was absolutely one of the best. You knew her before the whole sports psychology thing, but certainly after, she was one of the best at, you look at her and have no idea if she was winning or losing. Jennifer Jones, however, I would say you can tell.
Yeah.
Equally as successful, more successful,
Yeah.
but she certainly locks that hip a little more tighter when things aren't going well. And
I haven't noticed that. I'm going to notice that the next time.
slumps her head on the broom a little more as well.
Okay. When she's not happy.
I've got Noelle
Okay.
Thomas behind me doing the motion as I was saying it, so I'm not the only one that's noticed that.
I hope she's not listening. Imagine Jennifer has better things to do, but I hope she's not listening.
Well, Noelle knows Jennifer and is friends with her, so
Yeah.
she...
So, nice outturn draw around happening on behalf of Team Godsland there. Aaron threw a nice draw. It was, so they're lying 4 now, Laura. This is big trouble for Team Boland. Something that she may have considered doing before was coming around this way, but in any event, this is what she has left now. Nice weight. Nice weight. I don't think she was able to get any of it in under, though, so the chance of a jam is there, but it's also edge on edge at the worst, so should be mostly open for Aaron to hit this. So there was points scored on sheet 1 by Team Gushu because they threw first, but I don't know how many, if it was 1 or if it was 2, but we'll update you now in a second. As soon as Haley steps away from the scoreboard so I can see the score behind her. So intern hit here by Aaron. Oh, she got a bit tight on that one. Left it in play. Well, it shifts things in Sarah's favor for a little bit. I think you have to tap that, don't you, Laura? I don't know what else you can do. If you can tap it and sink a little tiny bit of it behind that blue one, it might be helpful. Either way, it has to be promoted so that it's shot rock.
It does.
Don't think we want to be giving up any more points here, and I think the steal is that would be ideal for Team Boland.
Yeah, even a force is what you're down 4. Yeah, just got to steal.
So my mistake on sheet 1, I was looking at the blue rock down there, and I thought that Haley threw first, but she didn't. It was a steal of 2 for Team Guju, so it's all tied up at 7 now on sheet 1. Sorry for Curtis, yeah. Anyway, it's tied up. Hey, right? It's tied up. That's all anybody at home needs to know. It's tied up after 8 ends. They're playing the 9th. Yeah.
I think that's what distracted you, the letter P.
It was, yeah. I was like, what is that? Oh, yeah. There we go.
And, okay. They were trying to get at that blue.
Okay.
And it was there, obviously. Just
needed to curl a little bit more.
Yeah.
Left herself a little bit vulnerable here now, playing that kind of weight, though, Laura. Still, I think the tap on your own would have been maybe a better call. Oh, okay. Yeah, 3 rocks left. I thought that might have been her last rock, so it's not, all is not lost yet.
old inside out hit.
Mm-hmm. Which is curling a lot more than they think.
Yeah.
But I think she's okay. Yeah. She's not going to get the roll that she wants, but she's, she's lying 4 here right now. Now, the question is there a way for Sarah to hide? I think there might be.
It's so hard to tell with this angle.
Yeah. I think if you hit the outside one thicker than you want, and you can hit the one that's biting the button and roll in under at the top 4, but you can't afford to roll up too high.
No.
Because there's other blue rocks in play, but she should be, it's makeable for sure.
Yeah, and if you make what looks like a very natural double, then
You'll
you're
be
wide open.
Yeah. Yes, she will be wide open.
Pretty precise.
Yeah, so she wants to hit a little bit thicker than you normally would for this type of double, so that you roll up toward the front of the house or the top of the house. That will also spin it underneath the guard a little bit better for you, which is where she needs to go to run and hide here. Tricky little shot, but not impossible by any stretch. Makeable, for sure.
You've seen her make some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. She stay for shot. She does.
She does stay for shot, and it's buried in behind all those yellow rocks. So
Fantastic
this
shot.
is a cold draw here. Cold draw, I guess. They still say cold draw. It's an open draw for 1 for Brooke if she chooses to do so. I don't see anything else, and I don't see any need to do anything else.
No.
I think that's the safe bet. Take your point. Be up 4 coming home.
I would be in the hack already.
Yeah, I would too. Wouldn't be talking about it too much, I can tell you. Because everything else is really difficult.
Yeah.
And you're also raising in the opponent's rock. So I don't see... I don't know what else they might be thinking
Brooke doesn't
about.
want to draw. That's what this tells me.
I see. Yeah, perhaps not. But again, worst case scenario is you give up 1 if you don't make the draw, and you get a feel for the draw.
Absolutely.
Going into the 10th end. And at this point in the game, she's already up 3. So she gives up 1. She's still up 2 with last rock going home. That's not the end of the world. I would never raise one of those yellow ones in and risk giving her more than 1.
Agreed.
And to be fair, whether she wants to throw it or not, she came to the same conclusion. So if she doesn't want to throw it, then she definitely knows it's the right thing to do. Whether she's doing it kicking and screaming or not isn't not the point. She's doing what she should be doing.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she'll say dead wrong. I was just wanted to look good with a double.
This is a good time for her to get this draw weight though. Even if she doesn't quite make this shot, that's not important. What's important is she gets a feel for what draw weight is coming home. Doesn't matter how many points you win a game by, you just need to win. A little bit short.
Yep.
So 1 yellow for Team Boland, and as we talked about, up 2 coming home with last rock is Team Godsland. And we'll be right back. So we've got the center guard placed. Sarah still needs to steal this game, which is not going to be easy. Whether she gets a point and got within 2 or not is not really the point. It's still that she has to steal the game. So she plays the center guard, which was nicely placed because it's a nice high one. So there's lots of room to come in around and put in the second center guard. Brooke and team Kate Patterson was tempted to come around it to the top 4. It's a little bit wider than they would have liked and probably a foot or so too deep, but at the end of the day, it's not too bad of a shot. It's probably not. Brooke is not going to be worried about it anyway. At some point, they're going to start banging away at these guards and try and take away any opportunity that Boland has to steal. So it was a nice placement of the original guard. That second guard, a little bit short of the target. I think they probably would have liked a little bit more separation. Hey, Laura.
Definitely.
Then you take away the chance for a double peel as much as you can. So Brooke is calling for another come around for Kate.
Good news is Adrian's second rock, both rocks are touching the center line.
Yeah, so they can't be ticked. But when the peel time happens, they are a little bit closer together, so it is a little easier to make that double peel. I mean, double peels are not easy, don't get me wrong, but when there's another couple of feet between them, they become a lot harder. So Kate has improved the situation in the 4-foot in that she's a little higher in the 4-foot than the first rock that she threw, but unfortunately she has jammed her own rock into the back at 8, which may or may not come into play, between now and the end of the end. But I don't know that that's going to be of a whole lot of value to Team Godsland. I think it's more of a benefit to Team Boland than it is to Team Godsland. Only because right now my take on this, Laura, is that Team Godsland needs to just remove rocks, all the rocks that they can.
They've shown not to do that.
No, they have since the beginning, really.
And Brooke, I mean, speaking with her at the beginning of the season, sort of asked what she leans toward, and offense, she said without hesitation. So not super surprising. However, the score dictates whether you should dictate whether you make a switch there or not.
So there's a little bit of discussion as to how they make this double peel. I think the only way to make the double peel and not leave something in the middle is to throw the outturn so that the top rock comes across the top.
A lot of weight.
In the right hand direction as you're looking at the screen here. That would be the way I would play it. And if you don't get the double peel, then you need to make the single. Stay out of the way as well. You don't want to be in the draw path in case Brooke needs to draw to the board button at the end of the end. So good shot there.
Yeah.
By Kate. Well done. Or sorry, by Sarah. It was well done. You don't always get the double peel when you want it, but you do need to make sure you make that single one.
Sarah, Kate, we apologize. We've flip-flopped your names a ton of times. So
A couple of times.
you could kindly do us a favor and one of you have a different hairstyle tomorrow. That would help.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from someone who's been called the wrong name her entire life.
Yes.
And chosen to have the same ponytail her entire life. So
Yeah.
I get it.
You can give her a heads up on it, though. That's okay. So
I know
outturn
they're
draw
not-
come around here. Top 12, which I kind of like because the guard that was left behind is a sort of a middle of the road guard. It's not really high enough to draw around and leave a guard. It's not really short enough to put up a high guard. So they chose to come around a little bit deeper than I think they would have liked, but still a pretty good shot. And at this point, it doesn't really matter where the rocks are because they can be hit. So it's not like you're in the free guard zone now. So a foot here or there from a guard is not the end of the world. As long as you're ahead of the tee line and in play and in the way, that's as good as Sarah can ask for right now. Nice shot there. Ooh.
I was just about to say 4 rocks in play and 2 of them are yours
That's
before
trouble.
this shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, changes the water on the beans. Might be a timeout here.
Yeah.
I think Sarah's thinking pretty hard.
Thinking it's been a long
Good
game.
time for, yep, here we go. Kelly's coming. Good time for Kelly to come up and have a chat, and I think she's doing just that.
9:45 p.m. Important shot.
So quick update on sheet 1. Team Haley Gougie got 2 back in the 9th end, so they're up 2 coming home without last rock. So gives the hammer to Team Curtis. They need 2 to tie, 3 to win. You can see something happening in the background there over on the left-hand side of your screen. 2 blue rocks there belonging to Haley Gougie right now. Couple of corner guards in play by Team Curtis. Guard replacement, I think, going on here, Laura. So good for Sarah and Kelly for reaching that conclusion. I think it's important that they put up another guard. I don't think that center guard that's up there now is going to allow them to steal very much. So then they still have to get 2 in behind. As much as you love the fact that that jam happened, if you're Sarah Boland, you can't get too excited about it because they are separated. And as such, what do I know? Nothing, obviously. As as such, it's not ideal positioning, but that's ideal positioning, what she's got going on there. And, if you're not going to throw a guard, then you better get it to the top 4. So she did. Good for her. And I'm going to stop talking now and let her play this game. Stop and stop arguing with all of her calls. She knows more than I do.
That was a pretty perfect shot.
Yeah, it was beautiful, actually. One might call it a game saver. We'll see what happens in the end here.
Read.
Yep. So this is a peel of the center guard, which is necessary at this point. You got to get something going here.
Straight it back.
They did call it straight back.
I don't think they called it straight back.
No? Okay.
Could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If they did, shame on them, because you would not.
Yeah, no,
call
probably
a
not. But,
halfway guard, run
good
back.
audible then, if that's the case, for Brooke to change the call. It's not a bad leave. I mean, she didn't get rid of the top one, but she did get one off the button, at least one of them off the button, and she's left her own rock in the top 8 in a fairly strategic position. So from Brooke's perspective, it's a pretty good shot.
It is.
May not have been what was called, but it's still okay. So what is Sarah going to do here? Hit and flop under?
Call a timeout.
Okay. Timeout it is.
You're saying hit her own and flop under, or you're saying hit the blue and flop
hit the
under?
blue
Yeah.
and flop under. I don't know how much of that blue is available from the standpoint, though. Not all of it.
All of it.
She's probably got a third to a half, which is a jam if you don't get to the nose of it. So she's not going to play that for sure. I don't even think she needs to, actually. There's lots of yellow rocks in play here. So, I mean, it's not critical that you have shot rock 2 shots yet. There's still 3 left. So it's not critical to lie to just yet.
Bad for
Not sure what I
Boland
would do
that
here.
no, it's too bad for Boland that Brooke has 2 options. I mean, if you throw guard, you can't guard the short
No.
little blue and
No.
the pick of the yellow. If you could, I think there's an argument for a guard
I think
here.
for that reason, I kind of like what she's calling here, but I'd put it behind the blue, not in front of the blue. I'd come around, like put it right between the blue and the yellow. And then Brooke can play that run all she wants because the middle yellow's not going anywhere. It'd also be behind the center guard, so then you can't hit it on the nose, right? So you can't remove both yellows.
So you're saying come around with the outturn,
Dead center top 4.
with the outturn.
Yep. Intern.
Okay. Okay.
Right where her
freeze your
broom
own.
is, really,
yes, okay.
but sort of not really on the nose of the yellow, more on the inside. So get it under the blue guard.
Right.
The center line blue guard, I mean, not the one that's in the top 8.
Yeah.
I'm saying get it under the blue guard on top of your own yellow so that there's your 2 yellows would be staggered, but there's no double if you stagger. If you can place that yellow rock right between those 2, the yellow and the blue that are there at the top of the house, I think it's safe. I think it would be safe there. But anyway, she's
I
playing
love
the
your
freeze,
call
and I
if
like the
there's-
freeze too.
Yeah. Is there enough room to get between the blue and yellow?
Not quite. I'm just thinking that if you can get it in there, then you avoid that run-in, the blue run-in that is available to Brooke right now.
The end of the world if she corners the blue even.
Nope, not the end of the world. Not quite there. Pro side miss, I guess. Brooke doesn't have a double to get rid of both of these yellows, and yellow is lying 1 and 2 right now. So I think they are anyway. It's pretty close. Yeah,
And that top button yellow is there. It's in great position for Boland. Kind of, I think that's the one I would target if I were Brooke. Not too worried about this.
This one out here, I don't know that it does you any harm.
No.
Really, it's always going to be out there, and it's always going to be available. If you had to use it to hit and roll into the middle, you're not going to have it there in a second. And if you play that hit and roll in toward the middle now, that's a short little tap for Sarah to tap it out. So
Yeah, that top button
I think it's
rock.
a bit too soon to play that. I might be looking at hitting the blue into the yellow that's in the top 4, or this yellow that's in the top 4
Wide
is
open.
half open for sure, isn't it? The yellow guard is kind of in the way now, but it's still, I think, still half available.
Again, pro miss from Kelly to leave a guard, and a tight guard at that. So she's
Oh, nice shot,
she's
nice
made
roll.
what she
She's shot
wanted.
rock. Good shot, but this is the short tap. And now there's going to be a blue rock behind it, which means that yellow one's not going to go anywhere. Right?
Yep.
So it's a good shot, but I think it's a shot too early. I think they played it too soon.
I agree.
So Sarah's going to play this in-turn tap now. I mean, every shot is important, obviously, but this one's going to be key. She needs to get shot rock for sure, but she also needs to make enough room so that her top yellow one is counting as the second point, because let's not forget, she does need to steal too. So she has to punch this a little bit further, like back where the other yellow one is. The audience can't see it because it's behind Kelly's shoulders, but there is a yellow one almost biting the back 4. So it's fully in the 8, kind of behind that blue
Right where
rock.
Kelly's shoulders are.
So in-turn tap.
Going hard for line.
Yeah, I see Adrian indicating that it has a little bit of extra weight, but I don't think that's going to hurt her. This is really curling, Laura. Oh, ouch. That's too bad.
Brooks are going to be lying. Oh,
So Brooks called a timeout.
this yellow rock just on top of the X, as it stands right now, can be used to get rid of that blue.
Oh, an in-off. Yes, it can. Yeah. You're right. It's in a slightly better position than the other way, for sure. The other way is a bit flat, so yes, it can. And it's makeable, for sure.
That's the risk for Brooke here. Otherwise, it'd sort of be, well, she's buried nicely. Why not just throw a guard on it? That's why.
Well, yeah, you can't leave that with a guard because that in-off is available. You're right. I like the call. I think that Aaron is making is to run that blue that's in the top 8 into the yellow, and I like that call.
Absolutely.
The other thing you can do, I think the other thing you can do is freeze that yellow. The top, she could freeze the yellow that's in the top 4, because then if she, there you go, exactly. That's what Kate is indicating there. I think she can play that, and then even if Sarah makes the in-off, she can run it in. She has the beauty of not having to remove all these rocks. She just needs to cut Sarah down to 1.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And worst case scenario, if she gets 2, it's still only tie game. So she's not losing by giving up 2. But if she freezes that, then she'd have a fairly easy hit on her own rock. So that's an option.
Freezes.
So the freeze is good, and the run the blue off off the top 8 is the 2 shots that you and I like. Hey?
Yep. And again, I think my thought, is that with Brooke not loving her draws right now, a freeze might be asking a bit much. Not to say she can't throw freeze, she absolutely can. But to give her the widest margin for error and probably the highest likelihood, I think the blue-yellow would be the call.
The blue tap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Poke that yellow one out or through or into the back 8 or back 12. You don't have to play a whole lot of weight at it. I think the idea is to stick it there, though. You need to stick there on the top of the 4 foot behind that corner guard or behind the center guard, and then she'd have 3 blues lined up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Sarah making anything for 2 then. The game would be over, I think. So while we're watching Brooke put the broom down here for this shot, just going to let our viewers know that Haley Gouju is throwing a guard as her last rock. She is lying 1 on the 4-foot right now. So the game belongs to her unless Stacy can make a run double.
It's
long. A very long run double too.
But how many times have we seen Stacy make these?
Yeah. The problem Stacy has is that there's a yellow rock behind Haley's blue one from certain angles, and so it's not a straight up run double.
Right.
It's a very difficult shot to score here for Stacy Curtis, but we'll keep you posted.
Brooke's shot coming down now.
Yep. Out turn draw. Girls are sweeping really hard. There's a lot of yelling going on there. I don't know if she's got the right angle. Well, she's got it. She's removed it. So that's a good shot. However, Sarah has to figure out how she gets rid of both of those blue rocks because
Get rid of them, but
she has to lie 2. The only way to lie 2 is for her shooter to count. Right?
yes.
So, can she make the double with this in off?
No.
Off the high one, maybe?
No.
No. There's really no way to get in between those 2 blue ones from that angle, is there? And the problem is that the guard up front is not allowing her to hit the top blue one thin enough so that she doesn't jam the back blue one on her own yellow.
Yeah.
This is tough.
I see nothing on the in
This is really tough.
side.
I think the only way to do it is to come in off and pray for a miracle. She can't really send the blue rocks in the right like she can't send the any of these 2 blue rocks toward her own yellow in the back. No. The only way to avoid that is to come off these rocks that are here in the top 12, which, unfortunately, this is not a perfect situation. This is a very difficult shot to make.
I don't even think it exists, but you got to try it.
So that did not curl enough. So that's a game set match for Brooke Godsland. So she will retain a share of the lead at 3-1. Sarah drops to 2 losses, and actually she will retain the sole lead because Stacey Curtis just dropped her game to Haley Gouju, and so she has 2 losses now too.
That's quite the comeback, though.
Yeah, that was quite the comeback. There was an opportunity there for more than 2 toward the end of the game. Unfortunately, it didn't materialize for Sarah, but a good, solid game by Godsland's team. And they are in the lead going into tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. You can join us here. Laura and Heather Strong will be bringing you the ladies' game, and myself and my other half, Jeffrey, will be bringing you the men's game, the Smith-Young game. So good night, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.